Now, we haven't done a video like this in a while, but it's time to bring them back. The 25-year rebuild. I'm going to be rebuilding the Vancouver Canucks until franchise mode ends. Of course, the Vancouver Canucks made it all the way to the second round, but fell in 7 games to the Edmonton Oilers. But honestly, I think that they would beat Edmonton if Brock Besser wasn't hurt for that final game, but that's neither here nor there. Edmonton's in the Stanley Cup final. You got to give credit where credit's due. I honestly did not think that team would make it to the Stanley Cup final with Stuart Skinner in between the pipes and them paying Darnell Nurse $9.5 million. But hey, Edmonton's been able to surprise me, and you got to respect what they're doing over there. But we can't spend too much time talking about the Edmonton Oilers because this rebuild is about the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Vancouver, you got a decent enough defensive core here, like Quinn, Hughes, Hronek. I'm going to keep you guys long term. When it comes to the rest of the defensemen on this team, that's going to be changing. And the goaltending department, that's set for the next couple years. Thatcher Demko, you're probably going to be the guy for the next decade or so. But just because the Vancouver Canucks look good now doesn't mean they're not going to be looking better heading into the season, because the first thing we have to do here is make a couple trades. And the first trade I'm going to do is involving a guy that they actually traded for in Elias Lindholm. Honestly, I don't really want to lock this guy down long term. I don't think he's a part of this team for the future, so we're going to trade him away immediately here. So since Lindholm's not going to be staying on this team, I want to reunite him with a former Calgary teammate. He's going over to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he's going to reunite with Johnny Hockey. So it's going to be Lindholm, Mikheyev, and a second round pick over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're going to pick up Kent Johnson here, and we're going to pick up Marchenko. They're going to play some big second line mans for us, and they're going to be a key part of the rebuild. Now, unfortunately, they're going to be saying no to just a second rounder, but what if I replace that second round pick with a first rounder? I think that might be enough. They're actually going to be saying no to that deal as well. I don't necessarily want to give up any prospects in this deal, but if we have to, I will. Hopefully, a first and third is going to be enough. They're going to say no to that. I guess we got to trade a prospect. But which prospects are going to be? Lecker I would like to hold on to you here, so I don't really want to trade you, but I think we might have to. I think we're going to have to go with Lecker I don't really want to do this deal, but I think in order to get this done, we're going to have to. So it's going to be Lindholm, Mikheyev, a first, a third, and Lecker over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're getting Kent Johnson and Marchenko. They're saying no to this deal. How are we actually going to get this done? Well, if I do two different trades here, so we're going to do Lindholm, Mikheyev, and a first round pick over to the Columbus Blue Jackets in order to get Kent Johnson. They're going to say no to that. I'll include a third round pick, and then ideally we can bring Kent Johnson to the team, and then we can do a different trade right after this one and pick up Marchenko. So I'll include a third round pick. They're saying no. Do I really have to give up a first, second, and third rounder? That would be a bit OD. But you know what? If that's what it's going to take to get this deal done, I guess that's what we're going to do. So all of this is going to be sent over to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they're going to give me Kent Johnson. We gave up a lot in that deal. And what makes it even worse is we're still not even done here because we haven't picked up Marchenko, so now I have to ship over another second round pick in order to get him. They're going to say no to that deal. Yeah, we're giving up way too many draft picks. This team's going to be in a very bad position when it comes to bringing in prospects because we're going to have no draft picks. But you know what? We got the two players that we desperately need here. For some reason, it went from no, we're not accepting this, to man, this is a sweet proposal on our end after adding a 6th round pick. So yeah, not really too sure what Columbus is cheering about, but we got the two players that we were looking for. And after acquiring said players, of course, we got to make sure that we're locking them down. Marchenko, you're going to be the first guy we're looking at here. Can we do a long-term deal with you? Yes, we can. I'm going to give you exactly what you want. 3.2 for the next 8 years. That's going to be an absolute steal here. So here you go, 3.275 for the next 8 years. Marchenko's going to be sticking around. Hronek, I'm going to wait on your extension because right now you're not really helping the team here. I want to lock you down long term as well. And then Kent Johnson, of course, I got to lock you down as well. I want to do a long-term deal with you. 8 years at 8.5 million, that's a bit steep, but I think we can do a bit less than that. So how about I just do 7.1 for the next 7 years? I feel like that's pretty fair for you. So after making that trade, this is what we're looking like. The first line's going to be untouchable here. All these guys are going to be sticking around long term. When it comes to the second line, Connor Garland, Kent Johnson, Marchenko. I think only Marchenko and Kent Johnson are going to be sticking around long term. Connor Garland, I wouldn't be surprised if we trade you either at the trade deadline or the beginning of next season. So of course, we're going to simulate up to the trade deadline, then we're going to make some moves accordingly. But while we simulate up to the trade deadline, are you a part of the 69% people that aren't subbed to the channel? If you are, then you should definitely change that. Subscribe to the channel and help me hit 70k by the end of the month. So I was under the impression that when I made that trade, that at worst we would be 5th in the entire league. Yeah, we're 25th. We went from 5th to 25th. I feel like I set very realistic expectations of 5th in the entire league, but nope, we're one of the worst teams in the entire league here. JT Miller, you're strong. Wait, where are we actually struggling? The plus minuses are very good on this team. What is holding us back? The third line. The third line's what's causing us to lose a bunch of games here. Yeah, it's just the bottom 6 really. But the fact that our bottom 6 is slightly bad is going to have us as one of the worst teams in the entire league. Now that doesn't really make too much sense to me. Thatcher Demko, your numbers could be a bit better here. But yeah, that third line's really just cooking us right now. So now that we know what's really holding this team back, let's make some trades and improve that bottom 6. So as we know, we got to improve the bottom 6 here. So Connor Garland in a 7th round is going to be sent over to the Boston Bruins. We're going to bring in Trent Frederick. He has a better fit on the bottom 6. So that's where he's going to be playing. Dakota Joshua, you're moving up to the 2nd line. So we made some changes to the core here. Somehow Kent Johnson lost both of his X factors, so that's a terrible sign already. Marchenko, he's an 83 overall. Dakota Joshua, I'm going to have you play some 2nd line mids here. We'll see what happens. Trent Frederick, you got a great fit on the 3rd line, so hopefully that improves our 3rd line, because that's really what's been holding this team back. Yeah, we just need a miracle to happen here, if we're being completely honest. Now, it probably wouldn't have hurt if we actually focused a bit on the defense, because that is one of the weak spots on this team, but yeah, we're going to have to work with what we have. Now, Dakota Joshua, if I think you're going to be a top line player for us, I'm going to pay you accordingly. We're going to do 2.6 for the next 8 years, and then just pray that it works out for us. Because yeah, this is a pretty big risk. You're only an 82 overall at 27 years old. I'm going to bank on you improving really quick here. Now, I'm not going to lie, we low-key pulled off a miracle here. This team actually made the postseason, 13th in the entire league, a 42, 32, and 8 record. So that means after the trade deadline, we've been one of the best teams in the entire league. I don't care what our record is, we can clearly compete with everyone. Like, this team has no business being in the playoffs right now. We were 25th at the trade deadline, and then we turned it around here. Trent Frederick, what are you doing on the 3rd line? That's my main question. Did you turn it around? You actually did. 8 points in 20 games, but you were +3. Our big weakness has been solved. Dakota Joshua, what are your numbers looking like? I'm assuming not too good. You didn't get moved up to the 2nd line until after the trade deadline, so I'm not expecting you to do anything special here. But yeah, the team's looking not too bad right now. I think we might be able to compete, especially with Thatcher Demko's numbers looking like this. 32 wins, 7 shots, a 912 and a 282. We remember what they looked like at the trade deadline. That's a massive improvement. He's been probably posting a 930 and a 220 since. So this team's much improved. I'm not scared of any team that we have to take on, and it looks like that first team's going to be the Calgary Flames. So I'm not going to lie, Vancouver got my hopes up after the first 2 games here. I thought we were going to complete a sweep, and then we proceed to lose 2 straight after that. Are we going to make it 3 straight, or are we going to win a game here? It looks like we're going to be winning 1. Are we going to be able to advance to the 2nd round with this next win? It doesn't look like it. We got to go to game 7 first. So in our very first postseason appearance, we're going to make it to game 7 of the 1st round. We're heading into the 3rd period here. Calgary currently has a 2-1 lead. Dakota Joshua did pick up a goal, but we got to pick up some more goals in the 3rd period. Brock Besser, technically you are picking up another goal for this team, but Rasmus Anderson's also going to be scoring, so we're going to be falling 3-2. Considering where this team looked at the trade deadline and we made it all the way to game 7, I'm going to classify season number 1 as a success, because yeah, we went from 25th to 13th in the entire league after the trade deadline. Once we have all these guys back for next season and we get a full season with everyone on the team, I think we're going to be all right. Now, I guess after making that trade with the Boston Bruins, they must have gotten a lot better. They were a wild card team, but somehow found a way to win the Stanley Cup. Got to give respect where respect is due, though. They were absolutely phenomenal during the postseason. But more importantly, how did our team look? Quinn Hughes, you were great. Marchenko, you were great. Dakota Joshua, 5 goals in 7 games. Okay, he stepped up when it mattered. Elias Pettersson, you didn't really step up for the team. Hronek, you weren't really the best. So yeah, a lot of the key guys didn't show up, but a lot of the players that you didn't expect to definitely showed up here. Like Marchenko and Dakota Joshua, I like these numbers right here. When it comes to the goaltending, Thatcher Demko, it's just got to be better than a 302. Plain and simple. So that's season number 1 in the books. Only 24 more seasons to go. Yeah, we're going to be here for a minute. Now, if we want to see this team hoist multiple Stanley Cups in the future, we got to make sure we're great during the draft here. And this is going to be a great start. We're going to be getting a lowly potential player with the 116th overall. So we got to make some moves during the re-sign phase. And this is exactly why I waited on Filip Hronek. We're going to be able to bring him back long term here. But you know what? It's going to be a bit of an expensive contract. 8.7 for the next 8 years. But you know what? He's a great defenseman. He's playing on the top pairing alongside Quinn Hughes. We got to make sure these 2 guys are sticking around. I mean, Quinn Hughes is already locked down long term, but Hronek, I want to make sure you're playing alongside him. Tyler Myers, we're going to let you walk. Zadorov, we're going to let you walk as well. Ian Cole is walking. Sam Lafferty, if I can bring you back at a cheap price, I will. 2.2, it's a bit expensive for me. Tate Bluger, what are we going to look at for you? $1 million for the next 2. I'll do $1 million for the next 4. How does that sound? All right, thanks Hronek for being an absolute L-mans here, not accepting that deal. So what are we going to be looking at now? Maybe $9.2 million for the next 8. I don't necessarily want to do anything more than $9.2 million, so you better accept that. There we go. We got him locked down long term here. The rest of the players, unless I can sign you to a 2-way contract, you're probably going to be walking. Another guy that we definitely have to bring back here is going to be Sheloff. He looked incredible in the postseason. I'm going to do 1.4 for the next 8 years. He's going to be our backup long term. I mean, if he turns into an absolute superstar, yeah, he can become the starter on this team, but I just don't think that's going to happen. He'll be a good player, no question about that, but better than Thatcher Demko? I don't think so. So after signing all those guys during the re-sign phase, now we got to start giving out extensions. We're going to start with Brock Besser here, and we're probably looking at around $7.8 million for the next 8 years. I feel like that's a great deal deal, especially if he's going to be playing some top line minutes for us. Trent Frederick, you've been a great bottom six piece for us, and I want to keep you on this team long term, but maybe I don't give you an extension yet. We're going to wait a little bit on you. Hoglander, I would love to keep you around as a fourth line player, so I'll do a deal with you, but maybe not, because even you're asking for a lot of money. Like, you're playing fourth line minutes, I can't afford to pay you $3 million. So it turns out we're not really going to give out any extensions besides the Brock Besser one. So when it comes to defensemen, we lost basically 4 of our key defensemen, so we got to make sure we bring some guys back here. Travis Sturman, I'll give you 1.9 for the next 3 years. Mike Riley, we can bring you in on cheap contracts. I'll do 2 years at 1.4 million. Yeah, you might only be a 79 overall, but you know what? I'm hoping you get a boost on the third pairing, and then that'll make up for the low overall. So another defenseman that we'll bring onto the team here is going to be Sean Walker, and I'm willing to do 3.2 for the next 3 years. It's a bit more than what he's asking for, but you know what? We're desperate here. We need some defensemen. So on top of signing defensemen, we also have to sign a couple guys for the bottom 6. We're going to start with Beauvillier. I'll do 1.7 for next season. And then Capo Caco, I'm pretty sure I can lock you down for less than $2 million. So how about 1.9 for the next 3? And then to cap off all the signings here, Tyson Jost, I'll give you 1.6 for the next 2. So Capo Caco actually declined my last offer to him, but now we can lock him down for even more. So I'm willing to do 1.9 for the next 6 seasons. Best case scenario, we unlock some hidden potential. Worst case scenario, he's a bottom 6 player that we pay 1.9 million. So yeah, I think that's worth it. Yeah, so you remember how I said Dakota Joshua, you're going to be a great top 6 player for us. You're going to develop. You're going to be a star for us. Yeah, he dropped to an 81 overall. So he's playing 4th line minutes now. This is what the team's looking like. The third line's actually looking pretty solid. Like, we get a +2 boost here. Capo Caco, Tyson Jost, Beauvillier. Hopefully they can perform. The defense isn't looking too bad here. Sean Walker, he's got a perfect fit here. Travis Dermott, he's got an okay fit. Hronek and Quinn Hughes continue to carry the way here. And when it comes to goaltending, Thatcher Demko, I have no questions about you. Basically, all I'm asking for this season is don't have an incredibly slow start like you did last season, because yeah, 25th at the trade deadline, not what we're looking for here. I want to be at least top 10 by the trade deadline, and then after we make a couple trades, finish top 5. We can't be putting ourselves in such a bad position every single season. Granted, we're only 1 season into the rebuild, but you know what? We gotta set high expectations right now. Okay, so I could not tell you what happened. We started the season like 11-2. I decided, oh, I'm gonna go on my phone once it gets till the trade deadline. I'll get off, and then I'll see how the team's doing. Yeah, we just had some massive collapse. 31-27-5. We're outside the playoffs right now, basically in the same position we were last season. I don't know what's going on with this team. Vancouver sucks to start the year, but they stepped up after the trade deadline. Yeah, this team's just not looking good. Like, just looking at the entire league, we cannot compete with any of these teams right now. We are an absolute disaster. Where are we? I mean, technically we're better than last season, 21st in the entire league, but this is not good. We cannot be proud of this record right here, and the issue is we don't score goals. Defensively, we're 2nd best in the entire league. This team just doesn't score goals. So yeah, we just have to fix the offense, and then we'll be a really good team. So let's just trade for an offensive player. But I mean, that's a bit surprising to me. Like, JT Miller, you're having a good season. Brock Besser's having a good season. Maybe it's just the second line. Yeah, the second line's just not producing right now. Kent Johnson, you're not producing. Marchenko's not producing. Trent Frederick's not producing. The second line's going to be holding us back here. The bottom 6 is good. So it's literally just that second line. So we have to figure out which of those 3 guys are we going to be trading. But I don't necessarily want to trade any of them. Trent Frederick's looking pretty good. He'll become a higher overall. Marchenko's looking pretty solid, and Kent Johnson's looking better. So unless we trade for a guy like Jonathan Marchessault, bring him in for the 1 season, then hopefully we can re-sign him. That might not be the worst idea in the world, but it's certainly not a good one. Alright, so I think this is the trade we're going to do. Dakota Joshua, we're going to ditch your contract, because yeah, that just did not work out for us. A 2nd rounder and a 4th is going to be sent over to Toronto, and we're going to try to pick up Matthew Nyes. Ideally, he can play some top 6 minutes for us, and then we can move Trent Frederick back down to the 3rd line, because I think that's where he fits best. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with this team. I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, Matthew Nyes is at least scoring goals this season. He's got 23 so far, 24 helpers, 47 points. He'd be one of the best players on the second line. The main thing, though, is we're not trading away our 1st round pick for this season, because that's going to have way too much value. But I just feel like the Vancouver Canucks should be better than what they're producing so far. We have a decent enough head coach here. We got some great players. I don't know why the team's just underperforming as much as they are. So this is what the new line combinations are going to be looking like. Kent Johnson, Matthew Nyes, and Marchenko, and then Capo Caco, Trent Frederick, and Beauvillier on the 3rd line. Ideally, we can see more scoring out of this 2nd line, because that's the real thing holding this team back right now. Outside of that, I actually think we're in a pretty good spot. Alright, so I got to lock down Matthew Nyes. I believe he's going to be one of the key pieces for this team in the future. We're doing 8 years at $4.8 million. He's getting a nice long-term deal. That's going to age very well for us. At first, I was thinking of giving Trent Frederick that deal, but you know what? Things haven't really worked out here. If I can bring him back for the bottom 6, I will, but you know what? Who knows what's going to happen. Alright, so it's time for that part of the video where Stick on the Ice takes absolutely no responsibility for what's happened here. We were a horrible team, missing the playoffs. Okay, maybe we weren't as bad as I thought. 23rd in the entire league. I thought we were bottom 5. But yeah, I am taking no responsibility for how bad this team is. The coach is getting fired. We're bringing in a new coach next season. We're going to make some changes to this team. Ideally, we're making big changes to the second line because I don't know what happened here. Matthew Nyes, since I brought you to the team, you scored 2 goals. I am paying you $4.9 million for the next 8 years. And you scored 2 goals. Yeah, so we're cooked, plain and simple. Yeah, Thatcher Demko, I mean, you were very good. Thatcher Demko was incredible this season. A 913 and a 269. We just don't score goals here. Like, that's actually the only problem we have. Offensively, we're just a really bad team. Defensively, we're one of the best in the entire league. We're going to be missing the playoffs here. Let's figure out who's going to win the Stanley Cup. I haven't even simulated the playoffs yet. Like, defensively, we don't have to make a single change to this team. We were one of the best defensive teams in the entire league. In saying that, we were also the worst offensive team in the entire league. For some reason, this Vancouver Canucks team just doesn't score goals, and I'm blaming the coach for that. There is no reason that this team shouldn't be scoring goals. We have a lot of amazing talent here. I don't know what it's going to take in order for us to start putting pucks in the back of the net, but I think it's got to start with the coaching change. Shout out to the Devils, they're winning the Stanley Cup. But let's go see if we're somehow going to get the first overall pick. We got to pray for a miracle here. Are we going to jump to number 1? It doesn't look like it, but we are going to be securing the 10th overall. So barring who's available at number 1, we might make a trade. Alright, so I think we're going to end up trading up in the draft here, but we're going to simulate pick by pick and see if the guy that I'm looking for is going to get drafted. He is projected around 5th overall, but I just want to make sure that he doesn't go any higher. So we're going to simulate the 4th pick here. He's not going to be selected. I'm going to simulate the 5th pick. I don't think he's going to get selected here. Okay, he ended up getting selected. I thought for some reason he would drop to 6. I don't know why I thought that, but we're going to trade for the guy that Pittsburgh just drafted. I mean, I was going to simulate the pick no matter what, because as we know, it's much easier to trade for the player than it is for the pick. So the 10th overall pick and a 7th rounder over to the Pittsburgh Penguins for the guy they just drafted. They're going to say no to this. I don't think it's going to cost too much more. I'll give you a 4th rounder as well, which is the 106th overall. They're still saying no to that. Okay, what else do I have to give up here? Because I don't really want to give up any more draft picks. Can I give you a prospect or something? I guess we could give up a guy like Carson Soucy, and I think that will be enough to get this done. Okay, maybe we should just try trading for the pick. But you know what? We got to stand on business here, and we got to somehow get this deal done. Tyson Jost, I'll see if you can be the difference maker. I'm going to add you into this deal. We'll send that package over. They're saying no. I have a plan, and it involves trading the 10th overall pick to somebody else. So I think I could do a deal like this. The 10th overall to the Anaheim Ducks. We're going to get Mason McTavish, and I don't think we're getting that 4th rounder. But yeah, the 10th overall straight for Mason McTavish. Now he's going to get flipped to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Because ideally, Mason McTavish, he's going to fit their trade block and it's going to make this deal much easier to get done. Yeah, they're willing to make a deal like this. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to go 1 for 1 here, but maybe Mason McTavish in a 7th round would be enough to get that medium elite potential player. They're going to be saying no. I'll throw in the 106th overall and that 7th rounder, and ideally, we can get it done just like this. So I'll send this package over. They're saying no, but we're pretty close. So I'm going to include a 3rd round pick into this deal, and then I think it should be enough to get this defenseman. There we go. We got the deal done. Sometimes you just got to do a 3-team trade, and that makes everything easier. So we got ourselves $7 million in cap space, and Trent Frederick, where are you going to be looking for? We can definitely get a deal done with you. We're going to do 2.5 for the next 3 years. I feel like that's a really fair deal with you. Now, when it comes to Hollander, it's going to be a bit of a riskier deal. 3.25 for the next 8 years. If he turns out to be a great player for us, it's going to be worth it. But you know what? It's definitely going to be a risk. Meanwhile, when it comes to a lot of the other guys on this team, they're going to be walking. Atu Ratu, I wouldn't mind bringing you back, though. Can we sign you to a reasonable deal here? Yeah, we can do 3 years at $800K. And then with the rest of these young guys, if I can sign them to 2-way contracts, I will. Okay, so it turns out that Hollander and Trent Frederick don't want to accept the deals I offered them. So you know what? We're going to circle back here. And if I have to give them exactly what they want, then I'll do it. Hollander, we're going to do 3.3 for the next 8 years. And then Trent Frederick, what were you looking for? We can do 2.7 for the next 3. Now, the next thing we have to do here, get rid of that coach because, man, he sucked. So we're not going to do too much during free agency here. Other than this one signing, it's going to be Perbix 1.3 for the next 3 years. Honestly, I believe in the core that I've built here. And I think now we have a new coach, we're going to be turning it around. Now, besides that one free agent signing, I actually do think we should bring in another sniper here in Zadina. He's an 83 overall, 2.8 for the next 3 years. We need somebody to score goals on this team because that's the one thing we're lacking right now. And Zadina, he's going to provide that to the team. Unfortunately, Mike Riley, a 4th and 7th rounder wasn't enough, so I'll include a 6th rounder in this deal, and I think that should be enough. The fact that they're saying no to this is a bit ridiculous. Here's a 4th rounder as well. So for the upcoming draft, we only have one 1st round pick. But you know what? That's perfectly fine because we're going to be a good team. So not only do we have ourselves a new coach, but a lot of the young guys are developing here. Kent Johnson, Matthew Nyes, and Marchenko are looking great. The third line's looking absolutely fantastic here. The defense is even looking great. Look at that third pairing. Travis Sturman and Susie gain a +2 boost, while the top pairing of Hronek and Quinn Hughes is also getting a +2. And of course, we have Thatcher Demko still here. He's a 91. Sheloff, he's an 81. This team should be good. On paper, we are a good team, but are we going to be able to find the back of the net? That's the real question. The only reason we were such a bad team last season is because we couldn't score goals, but I think that's going to change right here. So we'll simulate up to the trade deadline, and ideally, we're competing for a Stanley Cup. If we're not competing, then we're trading the entire team. So this is what happens when you get a coach that isn't complete crap. We're the exact same team as last season, 42, 16, and 5. Yeah, we're really good. Our offense is incredible. The defense is still pretty good too. I mean, the defense took a slight step back, but hey, Vancouver's first in the entire league. Let's make some moves to be even better. And on top of us being first in the entire league, we're first, but we've also played like 4 games less than everyone else. So yeah, we are significantly better than everyone in the entire league. The plus minuses are looking good. Do we have anyone with a negative plus minus here? It's just going to be the fourth line. Not overly surprised at that, but you know what? These guys have been pretty solid for us. Meanwhile, Thatcher Demko's numbers, what are they going to be looking like? You know what? They're not the best in the world. A 905 and a 293 is not the best, but you know what? It's Thatcher Demko and I can rely on him. So we got to make some moves here. Preferably we upgrade the fourth line a little bit here. Is there anyone on a 1-year deal that we could bring in? Sprong, that's not the worst case scenario here. Malkin actually wouldn't be bad either. Chandler Stevenson, how many years left does he have in his deal? He's got 5 years left, so we're not doing that. But Malkin, that could be the move. I mean, Malkin's actually not the move. We need 3 guys that are going to be elite defensively for us. Because that fourth line, they're not going to be scoring goals, but if they can play good defense, that's going to be the difference. So we're going to make one trade here, and that's going to be Tyson Jost over to the Edmonton Oilers so we can bring in Jonathan Toews. He's going to play some fourth line minutes on this team. He's got 4 stars in defense. He's a great defensive player, and that's going to help this team a lot because that's the only spot that we're lacking in right now. We probably didn't have to include that 7th rounder, but at the end of the day, it's not going to cost us too much here. Jonathan Toews is going to be a great addition to the team. So the Vancouver Canucks are going to finish the season as the best team in the entire league with a 54-22-6 record. The offense was flying, and that was the big difference between this season and last season. Last year, this team could not score goals to save their life. But you know what? JT Miller was looking fantastic. Elias Pettersson was looking fantastic. Brock Besser, a big 40-goal season from him. Marchenko's picking up 34. I'm loving what the team's doing right now. Capo Caco, what a smart pickup that was. How many years did I lock him down for? After this season, we're going to have 4 more years at $1.9 million. I know how to spot them in free agency. I can find the elite players such as Capo Caco, and I've saved his career. Also, Jonathan Toews, what'd you do since joining the team here? Hopefully you had a positive plus minus. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, I guess. You can win some face-offs for us. You can play some big minutes there in the playoffs. And Thatcher Demko, just keep doing what you're doing. You're looking great so far. But we got to make sure that we're prepared for the postseason here because the Calgary Flames are going to be no joke. We have them in the first round. Alright, well this is certainly not ideal. We're already down 3-1 in the series against the Calgary Flames. We've got to spark a big comeback. A massive win in Game 5 is going to be helping us. Can we win back-to-back games here and go off to Game 7? It doesn't look like it. We're falling 5-3. So after being the best team in the entire league and having JT Miller look absolutely fantastic in the postseason, 11 points in 6 games. He also had 6 goals here. The defense on this team just did not hold up. Thatcher Demko, okay, how did we not win actually? Thatcher Demko, 2 wins, 1 shot, a 913 to 269, and then these were the forward numbers. Like, we were scoring goals against Calgary. We were looking pretty solid. Yeah, this has to be a fluke. Like, how many goals did we actually score against the Calgary Flames, and how many goals did they score against us? Because looking at the stats of this team, we actually look pretty good. I mean, I guess every single game was pretty close. This was a 1-goal game, 1-goal game, 1-goal game, another 1-goal game. We shut them out in game number 5, but we lost game number 6, 5-3. So all the games were pretty close. A few of them were pretty low scoring. I kind of understand why our numbers look the way they do. But you know what? Who cares what the numbers look like? We're out in the first round, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for multiple Stanley Cups. So Seattle's going to go on to win the Stanley Cup here, taking the Rangers down in a 6-game series. That's going to be the Vancouver Canucks in the next 3 years. I can guarantee you Vancouver's going to be hoisting a Stanley Cup pretty quick here, and it's going to be the first in franchise history for them. I'm going to set this team up for success, and they're going to see a lot of success here. The salary cap's going to be jumping here. We don't really need to make too many trades. We actually really don't have to make too many changes to this team. I think we're going to fix up the defense a little bit, but other than that, the team's looking the exact same. So we had 1 pick in the draft here, and we're getting an absolute superstar. We got Datsuk on the Vancouver Canucks now. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before he's going to be carrying the team. So we've reached the re-sign phase, and we already have a majority of players under contract. But Pakolzin, I'll give you 3 years at $1 million on a two-way contract. That's going to work out for this team. Carlson, I'm also going to give you like $800K for the next 3 years on a two-way contract. But Susie and Jonathan Taves, both of you guys are going to be walking. When it comes to goaltenders, I guess we could sign this guy right here, give him his entry-level contract. That probably wouldn't hurt. Now, Quinn Hughes, you're an incredible player for us. But I'm going to be completely honest. You're an incredible player, but not worth $15 million, especially for one season. If we want to lock you down for 8 years here, you're looking at $19 million. There's a very good chance that you get traded away immediately here. Like, I just can't afford to pay you that much money. Like, Sean Walker, what are you looking for? If we can save a bit of money with you, I would, but we can't really do that. So yeah, we're going to make some changes to this team because we basically have to. Now with Quinn Hughes, the plan was to keep this guy on our team as long as we possibly could, but he is not helping us in the slightest right now. Asking for $15 million and only for one season, that's just not going to work here, so we're going to have to trade him. Miro Heiskanen, you'd be a great replacement. You're a 92 overall, 93 overall, he's a 92 overall, under contract for the next 3 years. Lundqvist, you would help the defense, and Christian Kyrou, you're a good young defenseman. You're going to keep on developing. I think we can get all three of these guys for Quinn Hughes. That's a pretty fair deal. That's going to help the team. We actually might be in a better spot now because Lundqvist is going to be playing some minutes for us this season. We'll see what we can do. But I'm not going to lie, it's going to be tough losing Quinn Hughes. He was an elite defenseman for us, an elite offensive defenseman. So without him, we're definitely not going to be producing as much on the offensive end. But you know what? We're going to find a way to make it work here. Lundqvist, I would love to keep you long term, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. It's going to be $4.5 million for the next 5 years. You're going to be a key defenseman for us. And Sean Walker, we're just going to ride out your contract. So Travis Dermott, we no longer need you on the team because of that last trade we made. Zadina, it's not really working out here, and I think Brad Lambert would have a better fit. So both these guys are going to be traded along with the 6th round pick, and Brad Lambert's going to be joined the team after we include a 7th rounder. Like, we're pretty close already, so a 7th round pick will probably make the difference. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying no to it. How about I turn that 7th into a 5th for this season, and then that should be more than enough to get this deal done. So I'm going to send that over. Winnipeg saying yes. We've done all the moves we have to make. Let's get ready for next season. We are the best team in the entire league last season. The only thing I'm concerned about is the fact that we don't have Quinn Hughes anymore. He was a super important part to this team, and now that he's gone, I think we might be in a bit of trouble. Okay, so 90% of the time when I'm simulating the season, I'm looking at my phone or I'm doing something else. I'm not really paying attention to our record. I just saw what our record is at the trade deadline. It is incredible. I did not think it was possible to have this record at the trade deadline. We currently have a 51-9-3 record. We're not looking at stats. We're not looking. Actually, yes, I want to look at stats here. The Vancouver Canucks are unstoppable right now. A 51-9-3 record at the trade deadline. We are better than everyone. Almost 4 goals per game. 2.11. No, that is wild. 2.11 allowed. Our offense is fantastic. Our defense is fantastic. Everything about this team is fantastic. Quinn Hughes, were you really holding us back that much? Because there is no reason this team right here should be that good. And what makes it even better is this entire team's coming back next season. We're going to rock this same team for the next 3 years. We're going to do everything in our power to keep this team together. Yeah, we're elite. So the Vancouver Canucks are here to stay. First in the entire league, a 63-14-5 record, 3.78 goals per game, 2.26 allowed. Who's the closest defensive team to us? The Montreal Canadiens, and it's quite a big difference right now. The Vancouver Canucks are in a league of their own, and the only team beating the Vancouver Canucks is the Vancouver Canucks. We will beat any team when it comes to the playoffs as long as we perform. Even the fourth line on this team's incredibly strong. Trent Frederick, Lecker Mackey, Teddy Bluger, plus 19, plus 19, plus 17. The only thing that's going to stop this team is the Vancouver Canucks, like plain and simple. We're not losing to anyone. We're only losing to ourselves. Like, I really can't see this team losing a 7-game series to anyone right now. We have the LA Kings up in the first round. If you lose in the first round, I will lose my mind. Okay, what happened to that amazing defense? We allowed 6 goals here and then we allowed 5 goals here. We are known for playing amazing defense, and now this team is completely choking. Let's step up in game number 6 here. There we go. We're off to the second round. LA, you're putting a bit of pressure on us. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit concerned. So after taking down the LA Kings, we're going to be moving on to the second round, and now we're going to have to take on the Edmonton Oilers. They have a high-flying offense. Of course, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. What else do you need other than that? Alright, so you don't really need to know what this series is at, but we're going to jump in against the Edmonton Oilers here. Okay, they're going to be picking up 2 goals in this game. They're going to shut us out. We lost to them in 5 games. The Edmonton Oilers just beat the Vancouver Canucks in 5 games. They won the first 3 games of this series. We responded in game 4. It was a massive win for us. We shut them out 3-0, and then they shut us out. We allowed 6 goals in this game. What happened to our great offense? What happened to our amazing defense? We were a 63-win team, and we got absolutely smoked here. Like, we did not stand a chance against the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know what happened to this team. First of all, we weren't scoring goals. Kaapo Kakko was leading the way. He had 9 points here. The offense just completely vanished. The offense wasn't nearly as good as what it was in the regular season. The goaltending, obviously, that's not going to be as good. But the Vancouver Canucks just completely disappeared when it mattered. I really have nothing to say about this team. They just let me down. Like, what are you doing out here? Like, what are you actually doing? A 63 win team, and you're going to perform like that when it matters most here. I'm expecting you guys to do big things, and you're doing this. A 63 win team losing 5 games to the Edmonton Oilers, and they don't even win the Stanley Cup. So there was a handful of teams that could beat you. But you know what? We still have our draft picks. We can make some moves. All the important players are under contract here. But yeah, we got to bounce back. Shout out to Boston. They're jumping from 9-1. Yeah, but I'm definitely not happy with how that team just performed. So the Buffalo Sabres just drafted Pekka here. Low elite potential. He's already a 64 overall, 18 years old, and they picked him with the 25th overall selection. I am willing to trade the 92nd overall pick for him. They're going to say no. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't accept that. I'm giving you the 92nd overall pick for somebody that you just drafted in the first round. But what if I give you a 7th rounder as well? I doubt anyone will think Buffalo came out on the short end of the stick with this trade, so it's a done deal. You drafted that guy in the first round. I gave you the 92nd overall and a future 7th. And I still kept our first round pick, so I think it's going to work out here. Because with our first round pick, we're going to select this guy right here. Medium top 6 potential. Don't mind if I do. And then we have this gem available with the 60th overall pick. He's a 62 overall, low top 4 potential. But if he's a gem, there's a good chance he'll develop into something. So we got 2 great prospects here. And then 3 great prospects if you count the guy we traded for. So let's start with the extensions. Lecker Mackey, 1.8 for the next 2 years. That's an absolute steal. Sean Walker, I think you're going to be walking away here. Christian Cairo, I'd love to bring you back. What are you going to be looking for? Oh yeah, we're doing a long-term deal with you. 5 years, I'll do 2.4 million. That's an absolute steal. You're going to play some second pairing minutes for us, and you're going to keep on getting better. So that's a no-brainer. So outside of not really having to do too much in the re-sign phase, we really don't have to do too much when it comes to extensions. Add to Rad 2, I guess we could give you one here. I'll do 3 years at 900k. Why not? That's a pretty solid deal for you. Perbix, I'm probably going to let you walk unless we can do something really reasonable, similar to what you're getting paid right now. I'm not doing 3.2 million. Tate Bluger, I think we're going to let you walk. Trent Frederick will ride out your contract for this season and probably let you walk. But yeah, we're bringing back the exact same team, and we're just hoping for a different result in the postseason. If we can get the same result in the regular season, I'm going to be happy. But yeah, we're not going to talk about what happened in the postseason. I just want to forget about that. So although our team was absolutely incredible last season, I think we have to face facts that this is going to be JT Miller's final season with the team. He's dropped to an 86 overall. He's lost his superstar X factor. He's just not the player he used to be anymore, but I want one last chance with him. The team was fantastic last season. We didn't make any changes here. Hall's going to be jumping into the lineup. Defensively, we're looking great. Everything about this team right now is fantastic. Demko's up to a 92 overall. We were the best team in the entire league last season, and then the postseason happened, but we're not going to talk about that. This team's looking to repeat what they did last season. So we'll simulate up to the trade deadline, and if we have to trade JT Miller, then we will. But you know what? I would like to rock this season with him. He's a great player. He's helped us do a lot of great things on this team, but you know what? Time's ticking for him, and he doesn't have too many years left. So I think we might have to trade JT Miller away. We're just not the same team we used to be. Vancouver's 3rd in the entire league, a 41-17-6 record. Yeah, we're not the same team we used to be about 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, we finished with 63 wins, and then here we are just one season later. Things aren't looking the same. Now, the real question is that actually JT Miller's fault? And it might be. He only has 59 points so far. He's down to an 84 overall. We have to trade him this season. We have to trade him right now. His value is just going to keep on dropping. We got to get rid of him while we can. So who can jump onto the first line and play some big minutes for us? Matthew Nyes, you might be the guy that steps up here. Then again, Kaapo Kakko, what's your line fit looking like? Okay, Kaapo Kakko, you're moving up to the second line. Matthew Nyes, you can play some first line minutes. We're picking up somebody for the bottom 6. So this is an absolute no-brainer for us. JT Miller over to the Colorado Avalanche. We get this young player right here. He's already an 84 overall, low elite potential right now. We'll have him under contract for the next 2 years after this one. And we also get Ryder Ritchie. He's going to be great for the bottom 6 here. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. JT Miller, you're going to be sent off. And we're going to be bringing in 2 young players, and they're going to help the process here. We're also freeing up a ton of money in a move like this. I'll include a 3rd round pick, and that's going to be enough to get this one done. Colorado's really happy to accept that proposal. Not really too sure why you would be. And by making that trade, we also have cleared up a bit of money so we can bring somebody in on a 1-year deal. We can make a massive push for the Stanley Cup. Mark Stone, where are you going to be looking like for a line fit? Because you'd be an elite player for us. We cleared up enough cap space to bring you onto the team. Yeah, let's see what we have to offer in order to get you. Because if I give up a 1st and 2nd rounder and we can bring Mark Stone onto the team here, we would be almost guaranteed a Stanley Cup, but that actually doesn't mean anything because we have choked in the past. It's going to be a 1st, 2nd, and 4th rounder over to Vegas. Mark Stone's joined the team here. That's a big time move for us. So the lines are going to be a bit sketchy to finish out the season here. Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, and Matthew Knies on the first line. Then it's going to be Mark Stone playing on the left side alongside Kent Johnson and Marchenko. He's got to play left wing. We don't have any other left wingers. I mean, technically we do, but Mark Stone, I want you on the top six here. And then our bottom six is going to be absolutely elite with the two acquisitions we had. This team's going to be looking even better than we did in the first half of the season. We solved a couple of the small issues we have. We got rid of that JT Miller contract. We got nothing to worry about for these upcoming seasons. So I'm happy to say that Vancouver's looking like one of the best teams in the entire league, because we are the best team. First with a 52-22-8 record. In the second half of the season, we were looking absolutely fantastic. I mean, it wasn't the second half of the season, it was just after the trade deadline, but the point still stands, and we're looking incredible here. Mark Stone, since you joined the team, what are you looking like? 18 points in 18 games, you were plus 11. That's what I'm looking for here. The entire team's looking great. The two young players that we acquired as well are looking great. Everything about this team is looking great, but it did last season as well. And then the playoffs happened. We have the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. Vancouver, just take it game by game and we'll be all right. Yeah, so guys, I don't really know what happened here, but the game glitched. Nothing I can do about it. We ended up losing in the first round, but as we know, the game glitched, so there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way she goes sometimes. The team didn't perform due to that glitch, of course, and the goaltending, that was bad due to the glitch. Yep, definitely had nothing to do with the fact that this team just didn't step up in the postseason. It was a glitch that caused us not to step up in the postseason. Yeah, definitely not because Colorado was just a better team than us and they just completely smoked us in 5 games. No, it had to do with the fact that this game glitched. Nothing I can do about it. Yep, this is not my fault. I can't state that enough. This disappointment in the playoffs, not stick on the ice's fault. So after another disappointing exit in the postseason, we got to immediately bounce back here, and it looks like we found our future goaltender in Backstrom. Medium elite potential. He's a 60 overall. You already know this guy's going to turn into an elite goaltender for us. If you have medium elite potential and you're starting at a 60 overall, especially as a goaltender, you're going to turn into something special. And are we going to get 2 medium elite potential players in this draft? We're going to find out what Milson is. Only top 9 potential. Not what we're looking for here. And we're not quite done with the great drafting yet, because with the 156th overall, we're going to be getting a low elite potential playmaker. So we got a ton of money to work with, $16 million. So we got to be smart with how we spend this, because we could bring in a superstar player in free agency. So we're going to start with Trent Frederick. We're going to do 2.6 for the next 2 years. And then Tay Bluger, I'm hoping we could do something similar with you. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. It's going to be 2.5 for the next 2. So the bottom 6 is going to be looking great here. Perbix, I would love to give you an extension. What are you looking for? 3.2 million? I don't think that's quite the move. We could probably find a better replacement in free agency, and with all the money we have, we can make some big signings. But that's assuming Trent Frederick and Tay Bluger agreed to deals, and both of them are saying no. Okay, so we're basically starting from square one again. So Trent Frederick, I'll just give you exactly what you're looking for, and Tay Bluger, I'm going to do the same here. So both of you guys are going to be coming back, unless you want to play more minutes elsewhere. Let's see what's going to happen here. Trent Frederick's going to be leaving, and Tay Bluger's going to be leaving. Okay, never mind. Neither of these guys are coming back. We're completely changing things up here. So it looks like the acquisition of Miro Heiskanen is going to be really working out for this team long term, because we're going to be able to re-sign him, and at a pretty reasonable price here. It's going to be $10.3 million for the next 7 seasons. Definitely a lot cheaper than what we would have been paying Quinn Hughes. Now another guy I'd like to bring back here is going to be Brad Lambert. Can we do 4.9 for the next 6 seasons? He's done a great job progressing. Lecker Mackey, what are you going to be looking for? We could probably make this work as well. We'll do 2.7 for the next 3 years. You're up to an 84 overall. That's going to be a great deal for us. Ryder Ritchie, you're an amazing bottom 6 piece. So here's $2 million for the next 3 years. And then Hall, we're going to finish up all the extensions with you, and I want to give you an 8-year deal here because I think you're going to be sticking around long term. We're going to do 3.8 for the next 8. So we have our medium elite potential defenseman locked down. Everyone else is going to be locked down here. The team's in a great position, and we still have $16 million to work with. So the real question is, Quinn Hughes, did you end up re-signing with the Dallas Stars? Because if you didn't, you're going to be in free agency here. It looks like he didn't re-sign. But you know what? That doesn't really affect us too much. Let's make a big time move. So Jacob Slavin, I'm going to bring you in on a 1-year deal here. We're going to do $8.5 million. I feel like that's a really good contract for you. You're 34 years old. You only have a few seasons left, and you're going to help our defense big time here. And the other guy we're going to be bringing in here, although he is old, he's going to be great for our team. Alexander Ovechkin, 6.5 for next season. You might only be an 85 overall, and you might be 42 years old. But how many goals did you have last season? 47. So at 41 years old, this guy picked up 47 goals. He's going to be a great bottom 6 player for us. This team should win. Like, there's going to be nothing holding this team back other than ourselves, but we seem to be very good at holding ourselves back. So plain and simple, I just built the Vancouver Canucks super team here. Pettersson, Brock Besser, Matthew Knies on the first line, a +5 boost. Then we got this guy who I acquired from the Colorado Avalanche. What a smart pickup that was. Him, Kent Johnson, and Marchenko on the second, a +5 boost. The third line's looking incredible. The fourth line's amazing. The defense is phenomenal here. Miro Heiskanen and Hronek. We got Jacob Slavin. No weaknesses here whatsoever, and we have no weaknesses in net. We have 91 overall Thatcher Demko. If this team's not winning a Stanley Cup, then I just completely give up here, and I don't think Vancouver's going to win one in this 25-year rebuild. Like, we've already completed 5 seasons here, and this team has seen absolutely no postseason success, although we have been one of the best teams in the entire league recently. So yeah, we just got to step it up in the playoffs and we'll be perfectly fine. So I really thought the Vancouver Canucks would be better than this record right now of 41, 19, and 6. How are we not first in the entire league? I mean, we have 41 wins, that's exactly why, but how do we not have more wins than the Toronto Maple Leafs? Yeah, our offense isn't quite as good as them, but we have a better defense, and what really matters in the postseason, defense. But you know what? We also had the best defense 2 years ago, and that didn't really work out for us. So Brock Besser, what are you up to? You're probably having a great season. Yes, you are. Brad Lambert, what a pickup you were. Yeah, this guy's the most valuable player to the team right now. Vico, you've been another amazing pickup. 18 goals, 40 assists, 58 points. Alexander Ovechkin, you've been phenomenal. Everyone on this team is performing. The goaltending is going to be looking great here. We're not making any changes. I have full faith in this team, and that is the wrong decision because you already know once the postseason comes around, this team's going to choke. That's what Vancouver does every single year, but this season's going to be different. That's how you know I've gone completely insane. I am believing in a team that has constantly disappointed me year after year, but this season's going to be different. So when the season wrapped up, we're going to see Florida finishing third with a 52, 23, and 7 record, but our record during the regular season means nothing. Brock Besser's numbers during the regular season, they mean nothing. Nothing this team has done during the regular season means anything because the regular season is where we always shine. We always do amazing during the regular season, but this right here, this is where this team falls apart. The postseason. We have the LA Kings in the first round. We've been able to beat LA before, but you know who we haven't been able to beat before? The Edmonton Oilers, and we might have to take them on in the second round. So Vancouver, just take it game by game. I also said that last postseason, and that didn't really work out. So you know what? Let's think 3 rounds ahead. Let's start planning for the Stanley Cup final. Now, I never thought I would see the day, but here we are sweeping the LA Kings. We're off to the second round. The team's looking perfect right now. We got some momentum, and we have to capitalize on that momentum. I'm hoping that we don't have to take on the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, this is not ideal for this team. We have to somehow beat the Edmonton Oilers in a best of 7 game series. We're winning game 1. We won game 2. We have a 3-1 series lead, but that means absolutely nothing. We have to close it out in game 5. Okay, things are looking good. We have momentum. We got to keep on rolling here. We can't stop to look at the playoff bracket. We have the Minnesota Wild up next. Let's keep on simulating here. Ideally, we can sweep the Minnesota Wild and then we'll be in the Stanley Cup final. How are things looking for us? Absolutely phenomenal. The Vancouver Canucks are just built different right now. We're in the Stanley Cup final. Vancouver has a chance at winning their first Stanley Cup. It all comes down to this against the Boston Bruins of all teams. Honestly, that's kind of perfect. So here we go. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Boston Bruins. We won game number... Oh yeah, we have a 3-1 series lead. I was going to say we won game 1. We won game 2, but we just kept on winning. So as long as we don't blow a 3-0 series lead, we're going to be Stanley Cup champions. Are we really off to game 7 here? Yeah, I got nothing to say about that. So here we go. Game 7. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Boston Bruins. We were up 3-1 in the series, and we're up 3-0 in the game. Sorry, did I say we were up 3-1? We were actually up 3-0 in this series. We have a 4-2 lead entering the third period. Can we close it out here? Yes, we can. The Vancouver Canucks are Stanley Cup champions. Jacob Slavin and Alexander Ovechkin, the 2 big free agent signings, both of them are scoring in the third period, and they're helping us win this game. Like, when push came to shove, Alexander Ovechkin was really the missing piece for this team, and he's not going to be returning. Bro's going to be 43 years old. He's not going to be a high enough overall, but maybe he will be. He's still an 84. He's looking fantastic on the team. We might have to keep him around. Brock Besser was great. Marchenko was great. Brad Lambert's turning into an absolute superstar. What a fantastic pickup that was. When it comes to goaltending, Thatcher Demko, you were the man. 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 919, a 252. Who would have thought that it would have taken this long? But the Vancouver Canucks have finally hoisted the Stanley Cup, and they're looking to do the same next season. We're going back to back. So after winning the Stanley Cup, can we keep on winning into the draft here with the 32nd overall pick? What are we going to be getting? A medium top 4 potential defenseman. I really thought this guy was going to have medium elite potential. He had pretty accurate scouting, so I'm a bit disappointed with this selection. Although we didn't get a medium elite potential player, we are going to be getting a low elite potential one, and so far the low elite potential players have been living up to the hype, so hopefully Lee's able to do that as well. So we have the 224th Mr. Irrelevant in this draft. Who's it going to be? We could go with this goaltender right here who might have medium elite potential. We're going to take the risk here. Fringe starter. Obviously not what I'm looking for here. Now it's going to be a disappointing offseason here because not only are we going to be losing Jacob Slavin because I don't plan on bringing him back here. Although we do have the money for him, it's just not going to happen. He's 35 years old. He's going to get worse. Alexander Ovechkin, you're not coming back either. So 2 of our key players are going to be leaving the team. However, there is this low elite potential player right here. I don't remember who this guy is. I don't remember when we drafted him. 116th overall. He's up to a 76 overall. We're definitely giving this guy a deal right here, but I don't really want to do a one-way deal, so I might just qualify you as an RFA, and then hopefully down the road we can sign you to a 2-way contract. Meanwhile, when it comes to Pekka, of course, we got to give him his entry-level deal. He's up to a 75 overall. It's probably going to take him a couple more seasons to develop, but once he does, he's going to be elite. Now, 2 of our important players are going to be looking for contract extensions here. Vico, he's up to an 88 overall. Can we lock you down long term? Unfortunately, we're not going to have the finances for you, so we won't be able to. Capo Caco, what are you going to be looking for? $5 million. I think we're just going to ride out your contract. Vico, we're probably going to do the same with you here. I mean, you're 22 years old and you're an 88 overall, so maybe we actually do hold on to you, but for this season, I'm not going to give you an extension quite yet. I mean, you could actually be a very good second line player for us, so Vico, I'm actually going to keep you around here. I'm changing my mind already. So if Vico's going to be sticking around, that means somebody has to get traded. So this is the trade we're going to do to clear up some cap space here. Hoglander over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're picking up Rantanen. He's a good left defenseman, low elite potential here, but you know what? He's already up to an 81 overall at 20 years old, so I think he might reach that elite potential. And we're also picking up Cohen. He's going to play on our bottom 6. He's going to be a good 4th line player for us. I'm really surprised Toronto's saying no to this deal because I feel like the trade values are pretty close. So if I give you this 7th round pick, is that going to be enough to change your mind here? Surprisingly, the lucrative 7th round pick isn't enough, so we have to do 2 lucrative 7th rounders. Toronto's definitely getting a steal here. They're going to be able to get this deal done after we give them a 6th rounder. The fact that I'm having to give up all these draft picks right here is honestly ridiculous, but you know what? We're getting the deal done. We got the 2 players we need. Now Vico's going to be returning to the team. We cleared up another 3.3 million. That's going to help us in the long run, because the plan for Vico is he's going to be a top 6 player for us, so we got to make sure we lock him down. Okay, I do not want to do $10 million here, and 8 years you're looking for 12.3 million. Yeah, that's just definitely not the move here. So yeah, what should we do? I think we'll hold off on an extension for him, and then hopefully down the line he'll be willing to sign an 8-year deal, because that's what I really want to do. So when it comes to a guy like Lecker-Mackey, who really just doesn't fit on this team right now, he has no good line fits on the bottom 6, and that's where he's playing. So I'm going to send him over to the Seattle Kraken. We're getting Hellenis in a 3rd round pick. I really want to get Hellenis, so if I have to go 1 for 1 here, I'll definitely do that. Seattle, they're getting a great deal, but you know what? Hellenis is about to be signed to an absolutely elite contract. So Hellenis, how does this sound? We're going to do $2.9 million for the next 8 years. An absolute steal for a bottom 6 guy like yourself. You're going to turn to a really good player, and at that contract, you can't beat it. So before we get into next season, we do have enough money for 1 big free agent signing. That's going to be Alex Iafallo. I'm going to give him 5.4 for next season. He'll join the team as a bottom 6 player, and other than that, the team's going to be looking the exact same. So we're the reigning Stanley Cup champs, and the team still looks phenomenal. Even through the offseason, we didn't really lose too many valuable pieces. I mean, we did lose Jacob Slavin, and we did lose Alexander Ovechkin, but look at this team. Pedersen, Brock Besser, Matthew Nyes, Vico, Kent Johnson, Marchenko. The bottom 6 is absolutely phenomenal, and I can only assume the defense is looking great as well. Yes, it is. Look at the amazing line chemistry here. We're going to be in a great spot, and then when it comes to goaltending, of course, Thatcher Demko is still going to be the guy here. We're looking to go back-to-back, and with Thatcher Demko in between the pipes, of course, that's going to be a possibility. So apparently a 39-19-4 record is just absolutely mid nowadays. We're 6th in the entire league. Yeah, that's just not right. With a 39-19-4 record, you definitely should be top 3. Then again, looking at all these teams right here, a lot of them have played more games than us. Like the Florida Panthers and Columbus Blue Jackets have played 6 more. So if you factor that in, really, we're the number 1 team in the league. And if we're going to be number 1 here, of course, the big time players are going to make some big time plays. That's going to be Brock Besser. That's going to be Elias Pettersson. That's going to be Brad Lambert. Like, I really can't complain with what anyone's doing here, especially Alex Iafallo. I wasn't expecting him to do too much, but he's got 44 points in 62 games so far. He's been absolutely elite. And you already know Thatcher Demko, he's going to be elite as well. Like 8 shots, a 917 to 249. This man is absolutely locked in here. This team is showing absolutely no weaknesses whatsoever. So should we make any trades? Probably not. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We won a Stanley Cup last season. Why mess things up here? I mean, Troy Terry could be an interesting pickup here. Like if he fits what we're trying to do, it could be the move. So I'm just going to inquire about Troy Terry. If Anaheim's willing to retain 50% of his salary and he can fit on the bottom 6, okay, he can't fit on any lines here. So that means we're not making any trades, because Troy Terry was really the only guy that interested me here. So Vico is willing to sign an 8-year deal now, so that's great news, and we're going to be locking him down for a really cheap price, $9.2 million. 9.2 for the next 8 for a 23-year-old who's going to keep on getting better. An absolute steal. What makes it even better is what we gave up for this man, because we basically gave up scraps. That worked out very well. I mean, it wasn't scraps, it was JT Miller. But yeah, JT Miller on the decline, and we got a guy like Vico. We're finessing teams out here. Now, the Vancouver Canucks are once again having an incredible year, first in the entire league with a 55, 23, and 4 record. This is where we should be, especially with an offense that's pushing 4 goals per game and a defense that's the best in the entire league, 2.63. Compared to all the other teams in the league, we're a step above the rest. But are we really surprised at that? Because look at this Vancouver Canucks team, 0 weaknesses whatsoever. I don't care about the scoring because that was amazing. Did we have anyone here with a negative plus minus? Nope. Hellenis was the worst player on this team at +9, and even +9 is not the end of the world. So with this team performing in the regular season, I'm expecting that to translate into the playoffs. Thatcher Demko, 45 wins, 9 shouts, a 912 and a 264. As long as you play this good in the playoffs, we're going to be bringing home another Stanley Cup here. We got the Seattle Kraken in the first round. We made a trade with them earlier for Hellenis, so it's time to watch him light up the Seattle Kraken and get some revenge. They didn't want to pay that man what he was worth, but the Vancouver Canucks were willing to, so he's got a chip on his shoulder heading into this postseason. And with the team looking as good as we are, of course, we're going to be absolutely dominating here. The Vancouver Canucks have a 3-1 series lead. Can they close it out here? I mean, at one point we did have a 3-0 series lead, so we better not be going to game 7. Thankfully, we're going to close this out in 6 games. We're moving on to the next round. So we were able to take down the Seattle Kraken, so that means we're going to be moving on to the second round here. But we got ourselves another tough matchup ahead. It's going to be the LA Kings. If the LA Kings are able to stop Edmonton's offense, meaning they stopped Connor McDavid and they stopped Leon Draisaitl, they're legit. No question about it. Now, I told you guys we had to be prepared for the LA Kings. We won game number 1 here, but we proceed to lose 3 straight after that. All of them have been 4-3 losses. 4-3 here, 4-3 in overtime, and then 4-3 again. So we're off to game 5. But you know what? We're going to Simcast. So I decided from here on out, if we're facing elimination, we're going to jump into Simcast. Marchenko and Byfield are going to be exchanging goals here. Brock Besser and Kevin Fiala are going to be exchanging goals in the second. What's going to happen in the third period? A whole lot of nothing. We're going to need overtime to settle this one, and it looks like Drake Batherson's going to pick up the OT winner, and we're going to be falling in the second round here. We had dreams of a repeat, but those are dead pretty quick. So what was the biggest difference between last season and this season? One guy in particular, Alexander Ovechkin. We just didn't have that bottom 6 scoring, and that's making the difference here. Brock Besser, absolutely incredible. Matthew Nyes, he was great as well. Kent Johnson, Capo Caco, he's going to be leaving the team, but we just didn't have that elite player on the bottom 6 scoring goals. Alex Iafallo, you were amazing during the regular season. How many points did you pick up? 61 points as a third line player. That's amazing. But you know what? When the postseason came around, you had 3 points in 11 games and only 2 goals. You just didn't step it up when it mattered. Okay, look at Thatcher Demko's numbers. A 921 and a 249. And we still didn't win. Thatcher Demko, I am sorry. You are 34 years old. You deserve this Stanley Cup more than anyone. So I have the 28th overall pick, and this draft is looking absolutely abysmal. Like, as a top 9 potential player, really the best thing I can get here. Could I trade for one of these guys? Even these guys aren't the greatest here, so I think we actually might trade our first round pick away. Because if it's not going to have any value, I'm not going to be wasting that. Let's get some assets that are going to help us in the future here. So who wants our first round pick? Basically, I just want picks for the future here, or young players. A second rounder from the Philadelphia Flyers might not be the end of the world here. Even this right here, Lapierre, you could be a good bottom 6 player for us. But instead of picking up Lapierre, I'm looking to pick up a second and third rounder from the Montreal Canadiens, so I'm going to offer this package over. They're saying it's a bit low, so a 7th rounder will make the difference. Do we have a 7th rounder? We actually don't, so it's going to have to be a 6th rounder here. You know what? That's not the end of the world. We're getting a second and third round pick. We weren't going to get anything good in the draft anyway, so why waste the pick? Now, trading that first round pick was definitely the move here. Hold on, what is this? A lowly potential gem? Yeah, we're going to draft him right here. It's 20 picks earlier than what he's expected, but he's already a 52 overall. He's a gem. I want to make sure that Dietz is going to be playing for this team long term. The second I can sign him to an 8-year deal, that's going to be done. So we have $4 million to work with here. Capo Caco, I can't see you returning to the team unless we can do a 1-year deal here. Okay, you're looking for $7 million, so unfortunately he's going to be walking here. If I can sign you to a 2-way contract, I will, or if I think you're going to have a bit of value in the future. Like this lowly potential player right here, I know he's not willing to sign a 2-way contract, but I will qualify him as an RFA and then trade him for another lowly potential player. So far in this video, Shilov has been an amazing backup goaltender, but you know what? Time's running out for him. And Kirsch, you're 24 years old. We can sign you to an 8-year deal here. Best case scenario is in the future, you become our starting goaltender because Thatcher Demko's time's running out for you. But you know what? We do have this medium league potential goaltender. He's up to a 71 overall at 21 years old. I fully expect him to be the starter. But if we can run a tandem of these two players right here, I'd be down for that. So when it comes to giving out the big extensions, we have some tough decisions to make here. Never mind, no we don't. Kent Johnson, you're going to be returning to the team, $8.7 million for the next 8 years. Yeah, so that was pretty simple. Atu Ratu, we're going to ride out your contract. Rantanen, we're probably going to ride out your contract as well. Where are you looking for? Okay, we have the deal with this nonsense again. Now, what nonsense am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the nonsense where 80 overall and 81 overall players, for some reason, think they're worth $19 million. Like, bro's an 81 overall with low elite potential. You're not worth $5.4 million. You're just not. So I'm going to write your contract for this season. But yeah, you're probably not coming back to the team. Datsuk, on the other hand, it's a no-brainer. You got to stick around here. So I'm going to give you $800K for the next 2 years on a two-way contract, of course. So I think this is going to be the lone trade we do this season. No free agent signings are going to be done here. But there's low elite potential defenseman that's completely bugging on what he's worth. He's going to get traded along with a 3rd and 4th rounder. We're picking up Malcolm Spence. He's going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. He's going to provide some goal scoring. That's what we were missing in the playoffs last year. We needed some goal scoring on the bottom 6, and Malcolm Spence, he's going to provide that. Now, by also making this deal, I'm really hoping that I can lock him down long term. Malcolm Spence and Hellenis, they would be 2 great players alongside each other. A playmaker with a sniper. Obviously, you're always wanting that. So Malcolm Spence, where are you going to be looking for? I know we have to give you an extension. I actually can't give you a deal yet. So you know what? You're not going to get the bag yet, but eventually you will be. So we dealt with some disappointment in the postseason last year, but that's not going to change too much. The core guys are sticking together here. The top 6 hasn't changed whatsoever. The bottom 6 had a few changes, but nothing significant. The defense, identical to last season. Miro Heiskanen and Hronek, you're going to continue to lead the way here. Goaltending, I'm a bit concerned with. Thatcher Demko, you've dropped to a 90 overall. I don't know how many years you have left. Like, you're 34 years old. I would say once your contract's up here, we're not going to be re-signing you, because at 36 years old, what type of goaltender are you going to be? Like, so far in this video, you've been absolutely fantastic, and I got nothing against you. But you know what? 36-year-old Thatcher Demko, don't really think that's ideal for the team. But hey, if you can win 2 more Stanley Cups before we call it quits with you, I wouldn't be against that. I might even consider bringing you back. So yeah, just win a couple more Stanley Cups with the Vancouver Canucks and you can play here longer. Simple as that. Now, of course, we don't have to spend too much time with the trade deadline. We're not going to make any moves over first in the entire league with a 41-11-12 record. Okay, 11-12 makes me a bit concerned here because yeah, we can't win in overtime, but you know what? That doesn't matter. Overtime losses mean nothing in the regular season once you get to the playoffs because then it's 5-on-5 OT. If you lose 3-on-3 overtime, I don't really care. As long as you can win the 5-on-5 games, that's what's important. Vico, he's been phenomenal here. Good thing we kept this guy around. Pedersen's great. Marchenko's great. Brock Besser's great. Also, Vico, do you have medium elite potential yet? No, you still only have low elite potential. That is so incredibly disrespectful to our king right there. He has been absolutely phenomenal. And you know who else has been phenomenal? Thatcher Demko. As long as this guy keeps on performing, he's going to keep on playing for this team. So there really isn't any elite defenseman I can find on 1-year deals. However, Artemi Panarin's on a 1-year deal right now. He still has a superstar X factor. He's performing great. Do we bring him in for the 1 season? I'm not necessarily against a deal like this. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for us. But Artemi Panarin, you could be the missing piece. Like when we had Alexander Ovechkin on the team, we were incredible and won a Stanley Cup. So Panarin, you might be that missing piece, and you're having a phenomenal season so far. 64 points in 67 games, 32 goals, 32 helpers. Yeah, Panarin, welcome to the team. We're going to trade for you here. I don't really know what it's going to take. Hopefully not too much. Can this first rounder be enough here? I'm going to send that over. We probably could have just gave up a 2nd and 3rd round pick and got Panarin, but you know what? We're going to get him through a deal like this. So this is what the lines are going to look like for the Stanley Cup run. Pedersen, Panarin, and Brock Besser on the top line. Marchenko, Kent Johnson, and Vico. They're going to be on the second line. Then when it comes to the third line here, Ryder, Ritchie, Lambert, Matthew Nyes. Of course, when it comes to Matthew Nyes, once next season rolls around, he's going back up to the top line. But for now, Panarin's going to be taking his spot there. So here we go. The Vancouver Canucks first in the entire league. The OT losses are a bit concerning. But you know what? Look at the defense here. 2.63. That's the best in the entire league. Our offense is going to be second, only behind the Montreal Canadiens. But we have a significantly better defense than them, and as we know, that's what matters once the postseason comes around. But I said that last year, and look what happened. We ended up losing to the Stanley Cup champions. Panarin, I'm very curious to see what you did since joining the team here. I think you've been pretty good. In 18 games, 3 goals, 20 assists for 23 points. You were plus 18. That was a big time pickup for us. He's been performing great. Pedersen's been great. Everyone on this team has been great, but I say that every single season. Somebody's got to step up in the playoffs. We can't be relying on the top players here. We need the bottom 6 to step up. I'm looking at Matthew Nyes. I'm looking at Brad Lambert. I'm looking at Malcolm Spence. I'm looking at Hellenis. Those are the guys that have to lead the way. If your bottom 6 is able to exceed expectations, you're almost guaranteed a Stanley Cup. So with all that being said, let's get swept by the Anaheim Ducks in the first round. You heard that right. We're somehow going to get swept. So we're not getting swept, but it's a lot closer than it should be. We're exchanging games with the Anaheim Ducks. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. We got to jump into Simcast. I swear, if we lose in the first round, that just ain't right. Okay, so I'm just stupid. The recording was paused. We won 5-1. It was a dominant performance, so we're off to game 7 here. The big time players have to show up, and that's exactly what happened in game number 6. The top 6 for us led the way. We need the bottom 6 to step up when it matters most here. Vico, he's going to be picking up a big time goal in the second period. What's going to be happening in the third period? We're going to pick up a couple more goals. Thatcher Demko, thanks for the shutout. So the reigning Stanley Cup champions are falling in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers, but that's who we have to take on next here. It's the Edmonton Oilers. We know what they're capable of. But although the Edmonton Oilers are capable of big things, so are the Vancouver Canucks. Game 5 is going to be a big one. We got to head to Simcast here. Edmonton's got the lead in the series. So here we go. We got ourselves a big time game 6. Vancouver has to show up when it matters most. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to be happening here. A Thatcher Demko shutout. I can rely on that man game in and game out. And to be completely honest, Thatcher Demko is really the only player I can rely on. If we need a win, that man's going to be stepping up. In elimination games, he is absolutely phenomenal. Let's see if he can be phenomenal once again here. What's happening in the first period? Oh boy, we're allowing 2 goals here. Okay, things are not going our way. I spoke way too soon. Thatcher Demko allowed 6 goals. I have never seen a statement backfire so quick. But I mean, the fourth line did step up. Hellenis had a goal here. Miro Heiskanen had a goal. But yeah, we only had 2 goals and they had 6. Connor McDavid, he had a couple here. But that's 2 straight years where we're going to be falling in the second round. Vico, you were great. 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points. Artemi Panarin, what were you up to? Were you a good pickup? Yes, you were, but you had a negative plus minus. Are you telling me our first line is what let us down here? The top line of Pettersson, Brock Besser, and Artemi Panarin, they just weren't good enough. -2, -2, -3. Meanwhile, the bottom 6, it was pretty good. I mean, the bottom 6 was not that good. I can't gas it up here. Some of these guys picked up absolutely no points. Brad Lambert, you were great. Matthew Nyes, you were actually pretty mid. Yeah, the bottom 6 did not perform here. I mean, yeah, they had positive plus minuses, but Spence had 1 point in 14 games. Bro, what were you even doing out there? You took 8 shots in 14 games, and you're a sniper. You're a sniper that doesn't shoot the puck. Look at those shooting attributes. Bro, how are you a sniper? You're a sniper with 77 slap shot accuracy and 79 wrist shot accuracy. Yeah, the slap shot power and wrist shot is great, but you're not accurate in the slightest. So yeah, I'm not bringing you back to the team next year. That's an absolute waste of time. Malcolm Spence, the only sniper that can't shoot the puck. What else can you really do on the ice? So Colorado's going to go on to win the Stanley Cup here, sweeping the Edmonton Oilers in the conference finals. Thought I mentioned that. But yeah, the big time players just did not step up for this team. Plain and simple, we have to be better than that. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, Rantanen, I'll definitely qualify you as an RFA and then we'll trade you away because you're looking for $6 million. We only have $4 million to work with, so that's not going to work. Spence, you actually annoyed me so much. I'm not even qualifying you as an RFA. I'm just going to let you walk. I could qualify you as an RFA and then trade your rights away, but you know what? You annoyed me so much, we're not doing that. Now we have a ton of players here that need to be given extensions and we're not going to have money for all of them. We're going to start with Elias Pettersson here. What are you going to be looking for? 12.3 million is actually very reasonable, but that's what your asking price is. So obviously we can get you for lower than that. So I'll do 10.8 million for the next 4. Hronik, we're going to do a similar deal with you. We're going to do 9.6 for the next 4 years. You're 33 years old. You might not even be sticking on the team this season. Now that I realize you're 33 years old, we might trade you away, but I think we're going to run it back for 1 more year. Marchenko, I don't think there's a world in which we can get a deal like this done, but I might want to keep you on the team just so we can ride out your contract and compete for another Stanley Cup, barring what your trade value is. If your trade value is incredible, then I will trade you away. Ryder Ritchie, I wouldn't mind keeping you on this team, but for some bottom 6 minutes, are you worth 6.1 million? I guess you could move up to the second line, but you know what? We're going to hold off on your extension. Same with Lundqvist here. I'm assuming he's looking for $8 million. 7.2, I think we'll hold off on that. And on top of those deals right there, Thatcher Demko, you're 35 years old, 90 overall. I don't think I'm going to give you an extension. We're just going to ride out your contract this season, and then we're going to be letting you walk. It's a sad thing to say, but Thatcher Demko, your time in Vancouver's over. We're going to be letting you walk after this season. So Brock Besser, you're my favorite Vancouver Canuck right now. 88 overall. You're scoring a ton of goals, but you're 34 years old. You don't have too many years left in you, so I want to trade you away while your trade value is at its highest. So you're going to be traded over to the Arizona Coyotes. Ryan Rubrock and 2 second-round picks are going to be acquired in this deal. They're going to say no to that. Maybe we can just get 1 second-rounder. I would like to get some draft compensation, and it looks like we're going to be able to. But also through making that deal, we're going to be freeing up a ton of money. So this is the next trade we're going to do during the offseason here. Marchenko is going to be sent over to the Vegas Golden Knights for Murley. Now this guy was just drafted. I think he might have been the 1st overall pick. Never mind, he was the 4th overall pick, but he's an 82 overall power forward at 17 years old. He's got 4 X factors already. Yeah, that guy's going to turn into a superstar, no question about it. Marchenko's not going to be enough, so we'll throw a couple draft picks in this deal, but I don't think it's going to take too many picks. So here's a second rounder for 2033. Is that going to be enough? Yes, it is. We're clearing up some money here, but Murley, he's going to turn to a superstar. I'm happy to have him on our team. So before we get into next season, I do want to try to make this deal right here. Rantanen, I'll give you 3.4 for the next 2 years. Originally, you were looking for $6 million, but I'm willing to do a 2-year deal at that price. Now, I think you can make the argument that the Vancouver Canucks are actually better than they were last season. Elias Pettersson, Kent Johnson, and Ryan Rubrock on the top line. Then it's going to be Murley, Lambert, and Vico on the second line. A +5 boost on the top 6 is looking great. The bottom 6 is looking phenomenal here. The defense, 0 weaknesses here. Miro Heiskanen and Hronek, they're going to continue to hold it down. But when it comes in between the pipes, Thatcher Demko, I do have a slight question about you. 89 overall, you're going to keep on declining here. This is your final season in Vancouver, but since it's your final season, we need one more Stanley Cup. You're 35 years old. You probably only have 2 good seasons left in you, and I want to make sure I get one of those, so let's win a Stanley Cup. So looking at the salary cap situation for the Vancouver Canucks right now, we actually can bring back Lundqvist, so I'm going to do 6.2 for the next 3 years. And on top of that, Ryder Ritchie, I also want to bring you back here, so we're going to do 5.2 for the next 6. You might turn into a top 6 guy for us in the future. I haven't really decided yet. Time will tell when it comes to that extension. So Vancouver, I don't know what we're doing here. 4th in the entire league with a 42-18-3 record. The fact that we're not first with this record is beyond ridiculous. We have one of the best defenses in the entire league. 2.94 goals allowed per game. You know what? I don't really care too much about that. The offense on this team is great. The defense is great. Our record is great, but for some reason we're not first in the entire league, and that's really all that matters. Pettersson, Johnson, Lambert, Vico, all of you guys are doing fantastic right now. No issues. Thatcher Demko, on the other hand, you were actually doing very good as well, so I don't have any concerns about you. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this team, but for some reason I'm a bit underwhelmed with how we're performing. I feel like this team is currently just not performing up to expectations. We should be better than this. I don't really know what's going to have to change here, but we've got to change something. Maybe bringing in a guy like Kevin Fiala or Tovanen on a 1-year deal could be the move here, but I'm not really too sure if it makes any sense. I mean, I guess the real question is, do we have any assets that we can actually trade away here? We have $9 million in cap space, so we can definitely work with that. We have a first-round pick. We have 2 first-round picks we can work with, a couple second-rounders, so we could make a trade here. Maybe fixing up our bottom 6 wouldn't be the end of the world, so I think we're going to try to do that. So I think this will be the lone trade we make here. We just got to improve the bottom 6 a little bit, and Kulich, you can definitely be the guy for us. You're going to play on the 3rd line. Buffalo thinks they're getting a steal here. We're going to try to bring back Kulich. If he can stick around at a very reasonable price, he'll be a great player for the team. But you know what? We do have to make sure we have money to sign a goaltender, because as of right now we have no goaltenders under contract for next season, and we're definitely gonna have to change that. So Kulich is gonna be playing on the 3rd line alongside Ryder Ritchie and Matthew Nyes. Meanwhile, on the 4th line, that's gonna be Datsyuk, Cohen, and Hellenis. That's a pretty solid 4th line, especially since they're getting a +2 boost. Now this just isn't right. 2nd in the entire league because Montreal has more OT losses. We are a better team than Montreal, a 57-21-4 record, and the only reason we're 2nd is because Montreal has more OT losses. That doesn't sit right with me. We are clearly the best team in the entire league. OT losses mean absolutely nothing. We were clearly the best team. We won 57 games. The team's looking absolutely fantastic here, but I want to see Kulich's numbers since we acquired him. I'm not expecting him to do too much here. He is playing some 3rd line minutes for us, but you know what? 10 points in 19 games honestly isn't that bad. If you're picking up points every other game, that's definitely going to work for me in the postseason. But you know what? We don't have to worry about the bottom 6 stepping up the postseason. Last season, the reason that we didn't see success, the first line didn't perform. The big time players didn't make big time plays. We need that this time around. That's your Demko. It's your final season with the team. We have to cap it off with another Stanley Cup. The postseason is going to begin right here with us sweeping the Seattle Kraken in the 1st round. Yeah, so just completely ignore what I said about us sweeping the Seattle Kraken. We're going to be winning 3 straight games here. Can we make it 4, or are we going to have to head to game 7? It looks like we're going to make it 4 straight wins. Yeah, we lost the first 2, but you know what? We woke up after that. Now the Vancouver Canucks are looking legit. So we got past the Seattle Kraken. Now we have a tougher task in front of us. That's going to be the Edmonton Oilers. This team eliminated us last season, but now we're getting our revenge. So for game number 4, what I should have done is jumped into Simcast because we were facing elimination, but I didn't expect this team to be down 3-0 after the first 3 games. I just assumed I could simulate 4 games and we wouldn't miss anything. But nope, every single game from here on out, we gotta go period by period. Because why would I ever be able to trust the Vancouver Canucks on winning games here? Brad Lambert's carrying the way here. Okay, we're gonna dominate this game right here. We're taking it 4-1. Thatcher Demko, a great performance from you. So that's back-to-back incredible performances from Thatcher Demko, only allowing 2 goals in the last 2 games. He's got to keep up that pace. We're picking up 3 goals in the first period. Are we going to get a shutout here? No, we aren't. We're going to choke this game away. We lost. We were up 3-0 heading into the 3rd period, and then we allowed 3 straight goals and then lost in overtime. I was about to hype up Thatcher Demko, saying he is the greatest goalie of all time. And then this happened. And what makes it even worse is that's the last game Thatcher Demko is going to play for the Vancouver Canucks. He's not going to be returning here. In his final game, he allowed 3 unanswered in the third period and then lost in overtime. That might be the worst way to end your tenure with a franchise. Now, I feel like I've seen this sight before. The Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup after taking down the Edmonton Oilers in the conference finals, who took down the Vancouver Canucks in the second round. I feel like this has happened before. Feels like a bit of deja vu. So what this team needs right now is a new goaltender. So what did I go ahead and do? Well, I drafted these 2 medium league potential goaltenders. This guy was selected, I think, in the third round. Was it the third round? It was actually the second, 59th overall. And then this goaltender, he was selected 187th overall. Now, it's going to take a handful of years for these guys to develop, but once they do, they could definitely be some valuable options for us. Meanwhile, when it comes to our current goaltending situation, Sheloff and Thatcher Demko, both of these guys are going to be walking, and we're bringing in 2 new goaltenders. I mean, we do have these 2 goaltenders right here. This guy's an 80 overall at 26 years old, so I mean, he can be a good enough backup, but we do have this medium league potential goaltender in Backstrom at 23 years old. He's a 77 overall. Do we try to rely on this guy for next season? It would be a pretty risky move, but you know what? If he can develop into a superstar goaltender, we could probably extend him at a really cheap price. So we've entered the re-sign phase and now we got to make some moves. Ryan Rubrock, of course, we're going to be bringing you back. We're doing 8.5 for the next 8 years. That's going to be a really good contract for you. Matthew Nyes, where are you going to be looking at? You've turned into a third line player for us. Yep, we're doing this. Okay, 8 years, $2 million. This might be the greatest deal we have ever signed. 2.2 for the next 8. Why would I not do this? And then honestly, I think that's probably going to be the only extension we give out right now, but this team's actually looking pretty solid. I mean, Backstrom, I guess I could give you a deal, and what are you looking for here? Hypothetically, if we were to do 8 years, what would you be looking for? 7.7 million. Yeah, so let's not do that. Like, what's a reasonable deal I could lock you down to? It doesn't look like there is a reasonable deal. So how about we just do 2 years at 1.5 million or something? So here's 2 years, 1.5 million, and then we'll just see what happens with you. If you turn into a star goaltender, of course, I'll keep you on the team. But if you don't turn into a star goaltender, I'm trading you away. Okay, so I wasn't planning on trading for a goaltender, and then I saw a guy like Mackinnon here, and I think he could be the guy for us. 82 overall, but he has high star potential. He's going to keep on developing throughout the years, and we could actually sign him to a really good contract. So I'll give up a medium star potential goaltender and a 6th round pick. They're going to say no to that, but I think a 7th rounder could make the difference. So here's a 7th rounder for 2033, and that should be enough to get this deal done. Now that we've acquired this guy, it's time to give him an extension. Because all we did was trade for his RFA rights, but you know what? We're going to be able to get a great deal done here. What are we going to be looking at when it comes to Mackinnon? Well, we can do an 8-year deal at 5.8 million, but you know what? I don't really want to do that. I'm going to do 6 years at around 4.3 million. So ideally, over the next couple of years, you can turn to like an 86 overall goaltender, 87 overall, but at this price tag right here, that's an absolute steal. And just as I gave him that extension, my controller died. So you know what? That was perfect timing. Since 99% of the team's coming back, we don't have to make too many deals here, but we are going to make one big one, and that's going to be Carver Hagee, 1 year at 3.9 million. I guess it's not really a big deal. At this point, he's 36 years old and he's an 84 overall. So I take that back. We made a very small deal here. Now I'm slightly concerned heading into this season. Obviously, the forward core is great. I have no issues with that. The defense, on the other hand, outside Miro Heiskanen and Hronek, I'm not really too confident in this defense. Hall isn't the guy that I projected him to be. Like, Bro's an 81 overall, and I drafted him 5th overall. I guess I didn't draft him. The Pittsburgh Penguins drafted him, but I traded for him. He hasn't turned into the guy I thought he would be. Rantanen, he hasn't really turned into anything either. I was expecting a bit more from him. Lundqvist has dropped to an 83 overall, and now he's getting his bag. I'm paying this man $6.2 million to be a third-pairing defenseman. Not what we're looking for here. However, the goaltending, Mackinnon, you're living up to the hype. An 84 overall, we gave you a pretty hefty contract, 4.3 million for the next 6 seasons. But you know what? If you keep on progressing and get up to an 86, 87 overall, that contract's gonna be well worth it. So we have a weaker defense. We don't have Thatcher Demko to bail this team out anymore. Vancouver might not make the playoffs. I'm gonna be completely honest. If our offense doesn't step up, we could be in a lot of trouble. Okay, this team can't have anything nice at this point. We have a 45-13-5 record, and we still can't be first in the entire league because Boston almost has 50 wins at the trade deadline. Boston's really out here just trying to prove that Vancouver ain't nothing. Like, we have a 45-13-5 record, and they're like, nah, that's not good enough for first in the entire league. We're gonna be a bit better. Our offense is better than them. Our defense isn't quite as good because they're just elite defensively. But you know what? I gotta look at Mackinnon's numbers here. The fact that our defense is this good after losing Thatcher Demko makes no sense. Across the board, this team is just phenomenal here. I was not expecting this. The goaltending numbers, Mackinnon, you're unstoppable right now. 30 wins, 2 shutouts shots, a 907 and a 269. Even the backup's playing elite right now. I don't think we make any changes to the team. We're an unstoppable force right now. I think we just have to rock with what we have. So we're going to try Lundqvist and a prospect here over to the Montreal Canadiens for Reinbacher. They're accepting that immediately. I honestly thought we were a bit low when it came to trade value, but you know what? We got that deal done. So Reinbacher, we're going to keep you around long term here. We're actually going to be paying you pretty close to what we were paying Lundqvist there. It's going to be 6.6 for the next 5 years. I got to make sure that we're at least locking you down for 5 years. Now this just isn't right. Second in the entire league, of course, behind the Boston Bruins. And why are they ahead of us? Overtime losses once again. This team is going to be second in the entire league once again here because of overtime losses. This is getting beyond ridiculous. This team should not be finishing second in the entire league with a record like that. Pedersen, you were great. Vico, you were phenomenal. Brad Lambert, you've turned into an absolute superstar. I'm really happy I traded for you. Kent Johnson, great. Murley's been great. Everyone on this team's been great. Makinen, you were phenomenal this season. 37 wins, 3 shots, a 902 and a 286. I had very low expectations for you, and you know what? You've definitely exceeded those. You've been phenomenal so far. All I need you to do is step it up in the postseason. I need you to be slightly better here in the playoffs, but I'm very concerned. You know why? We are probably going to match up against the Edmonton Oilers in the second round, and then you know who Edmonton's going to match up against in the conference finals? The Colorado Avalanche. And why is that? Because they won the Central Division, so they're going to make it to the conference finals, beat the Edmonton Oilers, and then win a Stanley Cup for the third year in a row. Now we won 2 games in this series, and I thought things were going to be great because it was the first 2 games. What did we proceed to do after that? Lose 2 straight. But you know what? We're waking up in game number 5. Maybe the Vancouver Canucks have actually finally figured it out here. But you know what? I take that back. We can always make it through the first round, but we have to head to game 7 first. This team has no issue making it through the first round. It's literally every round after that. So here we go. Game 7 of the first round. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Minnesota Wild. By rights, we should be able to smoke Minnesota here. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're not really smoking them, but we are going to be winning 4-2. Wow. Who would have saw this? The Edmonton Oilers match up against the Vancouver Canucks in the second round, and then the Colorado Avalanche making it to the second round as well. Should I even waste my time here? I feel like I should just simulate to the end of the postseason, then we can see Colorado win again. Now a 3-1 series lead means absolutely nothing to me because we're playing the Edmonton Oilers. We're probably going to find a way to choke this away, but if we don't, that would be ideal. Okay, we're actually winning. We're beating the Edmonton Oilers. The Colorado Avalanche, are they going to be winning? Where are they? Nashville currently has a 3-2 series lead on them. If Nashville can beat Colorado here, then we're going to be set for a Stanley Cup. No one's going to be able to stop us. Vico, he's looking phenomenal so far. 18 points in 12 games, 7 goals, 11 assists. We got Nashville. We can beat Nashville. Colorado is literally the only team I was scared about other than Edmonton. This team's rolling right now. We got to keep the momentum going. We're winning game number 1 here. Can we win game 2? No, we can't. We're losing 3 straight after that. That's great. Okay, Vico, I'm pretty sure you had 18 points heading into this series. You have 18 points still. This man is yet to record a single point in the conference finals. Yeah, he sucks. All right, Vico, it's time for you to wake up and record at least 1 point here. Like, I need you to do something. We have a 3-1 lead entering the third period, but that means absolutely nothing. We've seen us choke leads like that away, but luckily we're going to be taking this one 4-1. Like, at this point, I believe this team could be up 5-0 entering the third period, and we're still going to find a way to lose. Right now it's 3-3, so the third period is going to decide this game. Who's going to step up when it matters most? Jake Neighbors, the St. Louis legend himself. Now, although I hate to see it, you do love seeing Jake Neighbors score series clinching goals like that, but not when he's not playing on your team. He's playing on Nashville right now. You just hate to see it. Happy to see Vico finally woke up, but it was a bit too late. At this point, I'm just convinced that Vancouver can't have anything nice. The Boston Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup, sweeping the Nashville Predators. You're telling me the team that finished over Vancouver in the standings, the only team to be ahead of Vancouver, is going to win the Stanley Cup? Like, what really held their team back during that postseason run? Were the top players just not showing up? I mean, Vico, you were absolutely non-existent once we got to the conference finals. I'm assuming the rest of the team was like that. I think everyone was great through the first 2 rounds. When the conference finals came around, they all disappeared. Makinen, what were you looking like? A 921 and a 274. I can't really expect you to do too much more. You posted a 921. This team was allowing way too many shots, so I'm not even going to judge your goals against. If you're posting a 921 but you have a 274, there's literally nothing else you could do. The team just didn't step up in front of you. But I mean, the one thing that we did learn from this season, Makinen's our guy for the next couple of years. He's certified himself as the number 1. Alright, so if we can pull off this trade, it would be massive for us. We're going to get the 106th overall, the 107th overall, and the 95th overall. Now you might think on paper this deal makes absolutely no sense, but you know what, we could potentially draft some really good players here. So with the 94th overall pick that we own, I'm going to draft this player right here. Low top 6 potential, not what I was looking for. He was a gem though, so I was willing to take that risk. The next guy we're looking at drafting is this player right here. Medium elite potential, semi-accurate scouting. Hopefully that's what he's going to turn into. There we go, a medium elite potential playmaker. This guy's going to have a ton of trade value and we're going to utilize that. But that's not the only medium elite potential player, because we're also going to be getting this defenseman. But you know what? We're not done there. It's time to get another medium elite potential player. We're going to go 7 picks off the board for this guy right here, but you know what? He's going to have medium elite potential as well. So we just drafted 3 players with medium elite potential. We can allow them to develop. We can trade them away. There's endless possibilities with the guys that we brought to the team. Just look at these trade values right here. We could trade them and bring elite players onto the team immediately. We could hold on to them and then hopefully they develop into elite players. We'll make those decisions as time goes on. But right now, those are 3 great selections. It was definitely worth making that trade. All right, it's time to have that difficult conversation. Elias Pettersson, you're 34 years old. Miro Heiskanen, you're 33 years old. Hronek, you're 35 years old. How many years do you guys really have left here? You don't really fit the timeline for this team because a lot of the players outside you guys are incredibly young here. So is it time that we trade Elias Pettersson, Miro Heiskanen, and Hronek? I think it's that time of the video. 3 massive trades are about to unfold here. Let's start making moves immediately. So let me just try Elias Pettersson straight up for Gavin McKenna and Froats. They're going to say yes to that. It's a sweet proposal on their end. I mean, we got 2 great players in this deal. I think we're coming out on top. So now that we've acquired another playmaker in Jordan Gavin, I don't really think we need Kent Johnson on this team anymore. Because you know what? Jordan Gavin, he's basically going to be replacing you. So I'm going to send you over to the Calgary Flames. You're going to get Zanetta here. He's an 88 overall, medium elite potential. He's going to be a great player for us. He's a power forward. They're saying no to this deal, but we'll just add a 7th rounder and get this deal done. We all know the lucrative 7th round pick is the most valuable pick in this game. And just like that, we're getting this deal done. They're saying no to that, but you know what? Another 7th round will make the difference. We're getting insane out here. 2 7th round picks. Absolutely wild. So we're not done with the big time moves yet. Now we got to work on this massive trade. Miro Heiskanen over to the Chicago Blackhawks along with a prospect for Kevin Korchinski. Kevin Korchinski has slightly higher trade value than Miro Heiskanen, so we are going to have to add a bid into this deal. I'll give you a 2nd rounder as well, and I think this should be enough to get it done. They're saying no to that. Do I really have to include 2 2nd rounders in this deal? If they're saying no to this, of course I'll include a 1st round pick, and it looks like that's what we're going to have to do here. So here's a 1st and 2nd round pick, and by rights that should be enough for Kevin Korchinski. We're getting this deal done, but you know what? We're still not done with the massive trades, because now we're going to try to get Svensson from the Anaheim Ducks here. Medium elite potential. He's up to a 90 overall already at only 21 years old. Yeah, if we can bring him to this team and then sign him long term, he's going to be a great player for us. They're going to say no to Hronek in a 1st round pick, but I think it might just be simpler if we do a 3-team trade. So the Boston Bruins are currently interested in Hronek, so I can package up him along with the 6th round pick. We're going to get Winchester, and then I'm going to flip him over to the Anaheim Ducks. Now I think if we're able to pull this trade off right here, then Svensson's going to be a really easy deal to get done. I'm going to trade Ness away here, so it's going to be Ness in a 1st round pick over to the Calgary Flames, and we're going to get Antropov. Now Antropov, you're going to get traded over to Anaheim. So Antropov, it turns out you actually don't fit Anaheim's trade block. I was positive you did. So now that you don't, we're going to have to make a deal like this. Antropov over to the Edmonton Oilers, get Bobby Brink, and then Bobby Brink will trade you away. So hopefully this 3rd round pick is going to be enough. We really don't have that many picks left. I got to include a 2nd in this deal. Okay, basically over the next 2 years, we're not doing any drafting, but you know what? As long as we can get all the guys we want, then we're going to be in a good spot. So it turns out I made another trade with a player that doesn't even fit the trade block. So now Bobby Brink and this medium elite potential defenseman we just drafted is going to be sent over to Calgary. We're going to get Marco Kasper. On top of getting Marco Kasper, let's see if we can get 2 2nd round picks. 2 2nd round picks would be very valuable for us. I don't think we're going to be able to get it. They're going to say no to that. Can I at least get 1 2nd rounder? No, we can't. So it's going to be Bobby Brink and this medium elite potential defenseman for Marco Kasper, and that's still not going to be enough. You know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. We do have more assets we can work with. Here's a medium elite potential goaltender. Hopefully that's going to be enough to make the difference. They're saying no because they want a 6th round pick. You're telling me if I don't give you this 5th round pick right here because you don't have a 6th, you're not going to say yes to this deal. A bit ridiculous, but you know what? We're getting the deal done. Now a trade like this better be enough for Svensson here. I'm going to send it over to Anaheim. They're saying yes. They would call for resignation if they didn't say yes. Yeah, we probably could have got a 1st round pick back, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I offered trades that had similar trade value before and they said no to it, so I'm perfectly fine with giving up what I had to. So after making all the deals we did, there are extensions that have to be given out, and we're going to start with Murley here. We're doing 6.7 for the next 8 years, and then of course Svensson, he's going to be locked down long term as well. And then with Svensson, this is what we're going to be looking at. It's going to be 7 years at $11.8 million. So after making all the moves we did, we have so much cap space, it's actually ridiculous. So Kemmel here's $8.4 million for 1 season. And then when it comes to Rantanen, a guy who qualified as an RFA, we can probably bring him back for 1 season. I'm definitely not doing 4 though. How about 1 season at $6.7 million? You know what? I'm actually going to hold off on this deal. And Datsuk, I'm going to hold off on yours. I'm going to simulate to basically a month before the season starts, or maybe right till the beginning of the season, and then I'll try to give you guys 1-year deals. So Murley just said no to his last deal, so I'll up it a little bit here. How about $7.4 million for the next 8? I feel like that's a pretty fair deal for what you're bringing to the team. So if we don't take home a Stanley Cup, it's rigged. Jordan Gavin, Ryan Rubrach, Zanetta, Vico, Lambert, Lambert, Murley. Look at the bottom six, absolutely phenomenal here. The lowest overall being Cohen at an 80. We have an 85 and an 84 to side. The third line's elite. It's better than some of the top lines in the league. We look at the defense here. Kevin Korchinski and Svensson, they're going to be leading the way. We got Reinbacher, we got Rantanen. Yeah, the third pairing's a bit weak, but we're going to be okay, especially with these two goaltenders. Backstrom's living up to the hype. He's up to an 85 overall. He might be taking over here, while Mäkinen, you know what, you're going to be the backup this season. You're an 84 overall, but having an 84 and an 85 as our tandem, that's definitely going to lead us to a bunch of success this season. Now I'm just going to simulate right to the end of the season here. We don't have a ton of assets I want to trade away. We just traded basically all of our draft picks for the next 2 years. So let's just simulate this season with the team as it is. But you know what? I think we'll definitely finish second in the entire league, because why would we ever finish first? Now, based on where we finished in the entire league, you would think I'd be a bit concerned. We're sixth with a 51, 26, and 5 record, but we were a 51 win team that just happened to finish sixth. Like, we're a really good team. The difference between us and the Toronto Maple Leafs is literally 6 points. So yeah, all these teams right here, any of them can win the Stanley Cup. Like, normally I'd be a bit concerned about us dropping from second to sixth, but you know what? The team was looking great. The scoring's looking great here. We have great depth scoring, and that's exactly how I want to build this team. When it comes to goaltending, Backstrom, I am a bit concerned here. 42 wins is great, and so is 3 shouts, but an 898 and a 286, not really the numbers I'm looking for here. Look at Mäkinen. He posted a 910 and a 277. These are elite numbers. But you know what? It's your first full season with the team. We're not really too sure what you're capable of yet, but you have to prove yourself right here. You have the Minnesota Wild to take on in the first round. You should make a statement here. So we won the first 2 games against the Minnesota Wild, but we're going to be dropping the next 2 after that. What's going to be happening in game number 5? We're getting shut out. Yeah, it's not really ideal. So here we go, game 6. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Minnesota Wild. We're exchanging goals in the first period, but we're going to take over in the second. Reinbacher and Rubrock, they're both going to be picking up goals here. As long as we can close this out, we're going to be moving on to game 7, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. So the Vancouver Canucks have already won 1 game when facing elimination. Now we just have to win 2 here. We're allowing the first goal of the game and the second goal of the game. Are we going to be allowing the third goal of the game? Yes, we are. We got shut out in this one. That is really tough. Like, we let the first goal in, the second goal in, and the third goal in. We did absolutely nothing here. In 2 of our final 3 games, we got shut out in 2 of them. This offense just did not perform. Like, you can't even blame Mats Backstrom here. He had 3 wins, a 903, which isn't really good, but he had a 257, which isn't too bad. The offense on this team was just non-existent, plain and simple. Like, we had so much great offensive depth during the regular season, and then this happened right here. Nobody stepped up when they had to. Our leading goal scorer was Reinbacher. That should never happen. We should not have to rely on David Reinbacher for our offense. It should be the forward core and the amazing forward core that we had here. We had about 19 million guys that were scoring goals this season, but for some reason, once the first round began, everyone forgot how to score goals, and we're going to be eliminated in the first round. It's a tough way to go out. Now, Detroit's winning the Stanley Cup, but I'm just really curious about who matched up in the conference finals. Was it the Edmonton Oilers? Of course it was. Who would have seen that one coming? But the Colorado Avalanche, they actually weren't able to make it to the conference finals. They fell to the Dallas Stars. Before I even looked at the playoff bracket, I was fully expecting to see Edmonton and Colorado in the conference finals. But you know what? One of those teams is making it, and that team's going to be Edmonton. I mean, they lost in the conference finals, so it doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, the fact that these 2 teams have been so dominant and somehow always find a way to beat Vancouver, I'm sick and tired of it. So nothing really notable happened in the draft. We did get 1 low elite potential player that was a gem, so hopefully he turns into something special. Meanwhile, when it comes to the re-sign phase, nothing's happening here. Pekka, I'm going to qualify you as an RFA, while the other 3 guys are going to be walking. We only have $3 million in cap space, so we can't afford to spend a ton of money. So after this season, we're going to lose a lot of players. Zanetta, he's going to be walking away. This man wants $16 million. Yeah, we're not doing that. Lambert, he wants $8 million. We don't have the money for him. Dietz, he's going to want a bag as well. What's Dietz actually going to be looking for here? 5.5, we actually might be able to do this. So Dietz, I can do an 8-year deal at 5.6 million. You're going to be the lone guy we bring back here. Everyone else is going to have to walk. So we're only going to make this one move heading into next season. Backstrom, unfortunately, we do have to trade you away here. You're looking for $8 million. We can't afford to keep you on the team at that price tag. So you, a 6th and 7th round, is going to be sent over to Buffalo. We're getting bits. He's going to be under contract for the next 2 years. He'll be a good right defenseman for us. I'm actually really surprised that Buffalo's saying no to this deal. So I'll give you a 5th rounder as well. I don't really want to do more than this. I feel like this package is pretty fair. So that's going to be the lone trade we make here. We're just going to run it back with the exact same core. I think we're in a pretty good spot, to be honest. So the forward core is looking absolutely phenomenal. A +5 boost on the first and second line here. The third line's getting a +2. The fourth line's getting a +1. There is 0 weaknesses when it comes to this forward core whatsoever. We're perfect. The defense, Korchinski and Svensson, they're going to be leading the way here. These are the top 2 guys. We're going to rely on them a ton. When it comes to the next 2 pairings, honestly, as long as you can play some big minutes here. I'm not really going to care. Ryan Bacher, I actually do want you on the second pairing since you are a 5 overall jump. It makes a lot more sense. Then when it comes to goaltending, Mäkinen, we saw what you did that one season. You were looking absolutely elite. I'm hoping that you're elite once again this season. Like 2 years ago, you looked absolutely fantastic, but unfortunately, we weren't able to cap it off with the Stanley Cup, but we're going to be able to do that this time around. Also, we're simulating right to the end of the season. We really don't have assets to work with here, and we don't have a ton of cap space. So another season's going to go where we don't stop at the trade deadline, make any moves, but based on how our team's looking right now, I think we're in a good spot. We immediately lost 7-4 in game number 2. Not what I was looking for. So I think it actually makes a lot of sense that we didn't stop at the trade deadline. We're first in the entire league, a 57-22-3 record. I believe this is the best season that we've had so far. And Jordan Gavin, of course, he's going to be the guy leading the way. He's been phenomenal ever since joining the team. 97 points. Here is Zanetta. He's going to be doing amazing as well. 68 goals. Okay, we can't trade this man away. Somebody else on this team's getting traded away. Zanetta, we got to keep you here long term. Like, I just can't trade a guy like this away. He's looking absolutely phenomenal. I'm not trading away a 68 goal scorer. When it comes to goaltending, Mäkinen, you're continuing to look great here. But yeah, we got to find a way to clear up some money because Zanetta, he's got to stay on this team, or Zanetta, whatever it is. That man has to stay on this team. He just picked up 68 goals. He's been phenomenal so far. But you know what? The regular season means nothing. I need the team to step up right here. It's the postseason. We got the Edmonton Oilers to take on. Colorado's also in the postseason, so they're probably going to match up against Edmonton at some point. So that means we're going to lose in the first round. So after losing game number 1, the Vancouver Canucks have woken up here. They've won 3 straight games, and we're about to make it 4 and move on to the second round. A 6-5 victory sending us to the second round, and we got by the Edmonton Oilers. I never thought I would see this day. Us beating the Oilers, that's basically the equivalent of winning a Stanley Cup. So we got past the Edmonton Oilers. We're moving on to the second round, but I don't care about the Anaheim Ducks. The Colorado Avalanche are following in the first round here. Everything is lining up for a Vancouver Canucks Stanley Cup win, but we have to take this game by game. We can't take the Ducks lightly. If we do, they'll definitely smoke us. Now, this is exactly why you don't take teams lightly. Anaheim, they've actually been a very good defensive team so far. Like, we were the best offensive team, but 3 goals here, 3 goals here, 3 goals here, and then 0 goals in game number 4. Anaheim's playing some lockdown defense, but you know what? Their offense can't get past us. Our defense is even better than theirs. Can we close this out? Of course we can. A 3-0 victory. I was trying to hype up Anaheim's defense, but let's be honest here. Our defense was even better. 2 goals allowed, 1 goal allowed, 0 goals allowed, 1 goal allowed, 0 goals allowed. Yeah, I don't know why I was gassing up Anaheim's defense so much. Ours was significantly better. So we've won 8 games so far. We just need to win another 8 here. We got the Minnesota Wild in the conference finals. They've been a fantastic team. They were able to beat Colorado, and they've been able to beat Dallas. That's 2 incredible teams. But you know what? The Vancouver Canucks stand alone. We are the best team in the entire league. Our defense has been elite. Our offense has been even better. I can't see any team stopping us right now. Now, with a 3-1 series lead, the Vancouver Canucks are 1 game away from making it to the Stanley Cup final. We're winning 7-2, and here we are. It's been a handful of years since we made the Cup final, but we're back and we're ready to roll. So it all comes down to this one final matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Vancouver's looked incredible so far, but it looks like things are changing. We're dropping the first 2 games, but we're going to be responding. Game 3 is a massive one. We're going to be taking that one. We got to go to Simcast for this final game. Can the Vancouver Canucks win another Stanley Cup here? It comes down to 1 game. So 1 game is going to decide the series here. Can the Vancouver Canucks win it and then hoist the Stanley Cup here? We have a 3-2 series lead entering the 3rd period. Can we close it out with a massive period? Yes, we can. Zanetta, of course, you're picking up goals here. Froats is picking up goals. Dietz is picking up goals. The big time players. Robert Thomas, why are you on the Tampa Bay Lightning? That's not right. You should be on the St. Louis Blues. Seeing you on the Tampa Bay Lightning just makes me sick to my stomach. But you know what? We're Stanley Cup champions here. We're winning 6-4. But yeah, that's just not right. Robert Thomas on the Tampa Bay Lightning makes me sick. Now, I don't think it's much of a surprise that our team was just absolutely elite offensively. Jordan Gavin was great. Ryan Rubach was great. Zanetta, we got to keep you around here. I don't know how we're going to be able to re-sign you, but someone's getting traded away. You're just too elite to not keep on the team here. And then when it comes to Mäkinen, we clearly made the right decision by trading Markstrom away. A 928 and a 213 along with 4 shutouts. You're the superstar goaltender we've been looking for, and we got you locked down long term. So there's no point spending a ton of time at the draft here. We only had 1 pick. We got Ruutu. He's a defenseman. That's basically all I know about him right now. So the team's in a tough spot. We have $3.4 million to work with. Zanetta, we got to keep you around, so I'm going to qualify you as an RFA. Everyone else is going to be leaving the team here. We're losing a handful of key pieces. Yeah, I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to run it back next season because we're definitely going to be in a worse spot. So after careful consideration, these are the untouchable guys. Jordan Gavin, Zanetta, Ryder Ritchie, Murley, and Dietz. That means Vico can get traded away, that means Frost can get traded away, and that means Ryan Rubrock can get traded away. The reason I decided on these three players, not only are they getting paid the most out of the forward core right now, but I also think they're the most expendable. Like Vico, yeah, you're a playmaker and you're a pretty solid one, but I just realized what Dietz's playmaking abilities are. Yeah, he's actually better even though he's only a two-way forward. So Dietz, we're going to keep you around. You're going to play some second line minutes for us. Vico's getting traded away, Frost is getting traded away, and so is Ryan Rubrock. So this is going to be the first trade here. Frost over to the Seattle Kraken to clear up $11 million. We're going to bring in Davidson. He's an 82 overall. He can play some bottom 6 minutes. We're also going to bring in Vatanen, 77 overall, medium top 4 potential. And he's already got 2 X factors in his young career. So that's a great move for us. I'm going to send this over. They're saying yes immediately. You're helping us more than we're helping you. So the next move is going to be having us send out Vico here. We got to clear up some more money. 9.2 million is going to be shipped out. Colborne, a third and second rounder, all going to be acquired from the New York Rangers. That's a really good deal for both sides. Okay, Zanetta, you're the greatest player of all time. So if we do 7 years, he wants $13 million. If we do 8 years, we're down to 11.7. So Zanetta is going to be locked down for 11.5 million for the next 8 years. That's an absolutely amazing contract. He's only 21 years old. I definitely don't have to put a lot of thought into that extension. And Jordan Gavin, I'm not going to have to put a ton of thought into yours. You got to come back to this team as well. We're going to do the same amount of money. It's going to be 11.5 for the next 8. So we've already improved the forward core a ton here, but I think it's now time to improve the defense. And Leroy, we're going to bring you to the team. You're going to be one of our better left defensemen, 86 overall, and you're only 22 years old, so you're going to keep on getting better. We're also going to get a nice young prospect in Rupp, along with 2 second-round picks for Ryan Rubrock. This is an absolute steal once we get it done. We might not get 2 second-round picks. We actually might not be getting any second-round picks, but I feel like we should be able to get Rupp in this deal. So it's going to be Leroy and Rupp for Ryan Rubrock. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying no just because we're a bit low, so a 7th rounder will make the difference. So here's a 7th rounder for 2037, and this deal's going to be enough to get this one done. And then for an 86 overall, this is actually a great contract, 3.7 million for the next 8 years. So Leroy ended up saying no to that last deal, but we're just going to do something like this to keep it simple, an 8x8. For a bit of context, I just gave Leroy an 86 overall and 8x8. Bitz, who's an 80 overall with lower potential, he wants 6.2. We're just not doing that. Now the final move before we head into next season is picking up Kuleshov from the Washington Capitals. We need another player for the bottom 6. We're going to have an 82 overall playing as our second line center. But you know what? He's an 82 overall that has high potential. So ideally over the next couple of years, he's going to live up to that hype and he's going to improve to like an 86 overall or something. So no surprise, the team's nowhere near as good as we were last season. Jordan Gavin, Zanetta, Ryder Ritchie on the top line, then Murley, Davidson, and Dietz on the second. It's only going to be a +2 boost on these top lines compared to the +5 we had last season. The bottom 6 is definitely taking a step back here. When it comes to the defense, I actually think that's in a better spot, so I think that means we're going to be better all around. Our offense was already amazing. The one weak spot of this team was probably the defense, and with that being better, I think the team's going to be better. When it comes to goaltending, Makinen, we know what you're capable of. Just do what you did last season. Yeah, the team might not score as many goals in front of you, but you know what? You were so great defensively last season. We could probably score 1 less goal per game and still finish with the same record. So it's going to be another 57 win season for the Vancouver Canucks. I didn't bother stopping at the trade deadline. The team was looking so good, I didn't want to waste our time there. And I also didn't want to give up more draft picks because over the past 2 years, we've basically done no drafting. So I want to make sure we do have a couple prospects in the system. Gavin McKenna, another great year, 91 points here. Zanetta, it was a slight step back for you, only picking up 56 goals, but I'll definitely take that. Murley's picking up 40 here. Ryder Ritchie, a decent enough season for you. You're picking up 73 points. And when it comes to the goaltending, Makinen, you know what? It's incredible. 46 wins, 7 shots, a 918, a 249. I thought the team was going to be a bit worse this season, but you know what? We exceeded the expectations I set. We performed almost identical to last season. You know what we did last season? We won a Stanley Cup, so let's go ahead and do that again. We got the LA Kings in the first round here, but hold on. The Colorado Avalanche missed the playoffs. This is a completely different story. So it was a great start to the postseason, back-to-back shutouts here. We have a 3-1 series lead after dropping game 4. We're going to be dropping game number 5 as well, but you know what? The team's still looking pretty solid here. We're going to close it out in game 6. Was I getting a bit concerned after these 2 losses? Absolutely. I'm not even going to lie about that. When I saw us allow 6 goals here and 7 goals here, I thought we were cooked. In the first 3 games against the LA Kings, we were absolutely dominant. They couldn't handle us. As long as we play like we did in those 3 games for the rest of the postseason, we probably could sweep everyone from here on out. However, the odds of that happening are very low. In Seattle, they were a good enough team to make the playoffs, and they took down the San Jose Sharks, so they're probably legit. Now, this series right here just reminds me of when we played the Anaheim Ducks last year. A 2-1 win, a 3-2 loss, a 1-0 win, and then a 3-2 win. It's great defense from both teams right now. The offense isn't really flying, but you know what? We're going to keep on scoring goals here. Never mind. We're going to be losing game 5 4-0. Okay, the offense has to wake up here. We got to get back into this series, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're winning game 6, and we're off to the conference finals. Now we have the greatest team of all time in the St. Louis Blues, but you know what? I constructed this Vancouver team, and I think we're going to be able to beat St. Louis as long as we perform, though. We're splitting the series so far. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. Who's going to be taking that? It looks like we're going to find a way to beat St. Louis. Can we beat St. Louis in back-to-back games for the first time in this series? Yes, we can. We have a rematch. We got the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, a rematch of last season's Stanley Cup. We just swept this team. Tampa Bay couldn't handle us. The Vancouver Canucks back-to-back Stanley Cups, and we're going for the three-peat next season. No, this team was just absolutely locked in, and Zanetta, you were the guy leading the way. 19 goals in 22 games. Without you, this isn't happening. I'm so happy I cleared up the cap space to keep you around. Ryder Ritchie, you were even phenomenal. You stepped up when it mattered. Jordan Gavin, of course, he was incredible. And Makinen, you might go down as the greatest goaltender of all time. 16 wins, 3 shots, a 925 and a 240. That's back-to-back incredible postseasons. Every time this guy's been in the playoffs, except for the year he was a backup, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Like the 3 times he's been a starter for us in the postseason, a 925, a 928, and a 921. They don't build goaltenders like Makinen anymore. Now we just won a Stanley Cup, and I didn't think things were going to get better for us, but you know what? It looks like they are. We're going to be selecting a gem in the first round here, a low elite potential player. You already know if he's got low elite potential and he's a gem, he's going to turn into a star player. Like he's beginning his career as a 65 overall. Yeah, this dude's a locked in. Now we don't really need to worry about the goaltending position right now, but we did just select this medium elite potential goaltender who's also a gem. So yeah, he's going to turn into a star player. The second I can give him a long-term extension, we're doing it. Now, Kuleshov, I'm not against bringing you back to the team. Like when it came to us winning a Stanley Cup, you're a pretty valuable piece. However, we do have to give a handful of guys extensions next season. So yeah, I just want to make sure that we have money for all of those guys. And then once those guys are signed, if we still have enough money for you, I'll bring you onto the team. All right, so Kuleshov, you actually might come back to the team here because we got to make some changes. Kevin Korchinski, you're getting paid $10.5 million. I don't want to give you more money now that you're 32 years old. Like you're looking for $13 million. We can't do that. I'm going to trade you away. I got to clear up some cap space. Davidson, we also have to give you an extension. You know what? You're going to play some top line minutes for this team, so I want to lock you down long term. This is actually a pretty good price tag. We're going to do $7 million for the next 8 years. For a second line player, that's actually a really good deal. When it comes to Colborne, you know what? You're a good bottom 6 player, so why not do this price right here? 2.8 for the next 3. And then hold up, I have no clue who this guy is right here, but you know what? We're giving him a deal. But do I actually want to give this man a deal right here? If we do 8 years, it's $9 million. We got ourselves a great goaltender right now. So yeah, how about I do 2 years at $1.2 million? Yeah, because our goaltender right now is an absolute superstar. We're not having to pay him too much. And so far, he's done great in the postseason, so why change things up? So I think we're going to try a deal like this. It's going to be Kevin Korchinski over to the Calgary Flames for Gil, but I want you to retain $3 million on his contract for the next 3 years. I think we could just go 1 for 1 here. They're going to be saying no just because they don't want to retain money. So if I can't save money, I also want this medium elite potential player. He's only like a 79 overall, but I think he could be pretty good for our team in the future as long as he keeps on developing here. They're going to say no. How about if I give you a second round pick? I feel like this should be enough to get the deal done. They're going to say no. We'll do 2 second rounders. So we're getting 2 medium elite potential players. This is definitely the right deal to do. They're going to say no to that, but a 7th rounder will make the difference. Here's a 2038 7th round pick, and just like that, 2 medium elite potential defensemen. That's great for the team. Okay, this is actually getting a bit ridiculous. Here's the more lucrative 6th round pick, and then that's going to be enough to get this done. So we're all well aware of what's on the line for this season. We're going for the 3-peat. We've already won 2 Stanley Cups with this team right here. It's time to win a 3rd. And you know what? I think our team's actually better than last season. Gil and Svensson, they're getting a +5 boost on that top pairing. The other 2 pairings are looking absolutely phenomenal here. And when it comes to goaltending, we already know this guy can win for us. 87 overall Makinen. Now that you're up to an 87 overall, you never know. You might have a goals against below 2 in the postseason, because when the postseason comes around, we all know this man can step up. So of course, we're first in the entire league. No surprise about that. But I do want to point out our defense here. Of course, we're known for our offense, but look at that defense. 2.69. That's going to be second best in the entire league. The only team better than us, the Tampa Bay Lightning. But we know when the postseason comes around, Vancouver's going to know how to score on that team. Zanetta, he's looking incredible right now, leading the way with 81 points. He's got 51 goals at the trade deadline. Jordan Gavin's great. Ryder Ritchie's great. Yeah, this team's looking good. Gil, you know, that was a great acquisition for us. He's got 44 points so far. Even Davidson, 45 points here. He's manning the second line, and we're paying him a pretty reasonable price next season, so I'm happy to have him on the team. And then when it comes to Makinen, it's just straight glazing at this point. This guy's amazing. No, but Makinen really just steps it up in the postseason. This man could have a 350 during the regular season, but I know for a fact once the postseason comes around, he's posting a 220. Now, we do have a couple assets, so we could make some trades here, but what do we really want to do? I mean, we could bring back Froats on a 1-year deal. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Reed, we can probably get him on a pretty cheap contract if they retain 50%. I think what we really need is a defenseman, though, but I mean, the bottom 6 could use a bit of help here. Hemming, let's just see what you're looking at here, because if they can retain 50% of Hemming's contract, he can definitely play some bottom 6 minutes for us. I believe he's a playmaker. Never mind, he's a two-way forward. What do I know? And he fits on the 4th line. Edmonton retain half his salary. Actually, hold on. Do I even need Edmonton to retain salary? Like, do we have $6 million in cap space? I don't think we do, but if we do, that would definitely be ideal here. We have 4.2, but then we could send some players down to the minors. I think we would free up cap space doing that. Edmonton would be under the minimum salary cap. Are you kidding me? Okay, do we have a contract we can ditch here? I don't think we do. I mean, yes, we do. Where's Hall? Hall, I'll definitely trade you away in order for us to get Hemming. So it's going to be a first rounder in Hall over to the Edmonton Oilers. You got to give me a couple picks back in this deal, though. So how about you give me a 3rd and a 4th rounder, and we call this a pretty fair deal. Hemming, welcome to the team. They're saying no to this. I'll take the 4th rounder out. I want to get at least a 3rd. They're actually saying no to that. Maybe we just have to get Hemming in this deal. They're going to say yes to that. Now, the reason I was perfectly fine with trading Hall away, we actually do have a good young defenseman that we can bring up. Now, is that defenseman in the CHL? He might be, and then we could be screwed. So with the addition of Hemming, it's going to be Hemming, Kuleshov, and Colborne on that 3rd line. They're getting a +1 boost. This is actually a great line. We got a playmaker, a two-way forward, and a power forward. So we have basically everything you're going to need here. And the 4th line's not looking too bad. But Matthew Knies, I think this might be your last season with the team. Why did I give you such a long deal? You have 5 years left and you're 34 years old. What was I cooking up there? Yeah, so I was not thinking when I gave out that extension. Like, why did I give him such a long deal when he turned 30 years old? Did I give him like an 8-year deal at 31, 32 years old? I have no clue what I was thinking there. I'm pretty sure I just got tricked by the dollar amount. Like, I saw 2.2 million and I was like, oh yeah, he's an 84, 85 overall. He'll be that for a long time. And then I just threw a bag at him and did not comprehend how much we were going to be paying him. But yeah, that contract we're trading away at the draft. So the Vancouver Canucks are going to finish the season out strong here. We're finishing first in the entire league once again, a 52-21-9 record. When it comes to this scoring, are we really surprised that Zanetta is going to be leading the way here? Another great goal scoring campaign, 64 goals, 34 helpers, 98 points. I can't believe at one point I was considering not bringing this guy back. That would have been the worst decision I've ever made my entire life, not bringing Zanetta back to the team. Jordan Gavin, 95 points. He's been a great playmaker for us. Ryder Ritchie, you know what? He's actually turned into a really good player. I did not think he was going to play some top 6 minutes, but you know what? He's lived up to the hype here. Hemming, what'd you do since joining the team here? Only 9 points in 20 games. I mean, you are playing some bottom 6 minutes, but I was expecting a bit more from you. I'm not going to lie. We don't really talk too much about Murley, but you know what? He's been a solid guy for us on the second line. 66 points here, including 35 goals. I think 35 goals is second on the team, so you know what? We got to give respect where respect is due. He's been phenomenal. And Tuukka Makinen, I mean, what can I say about this guy? Other than the fact that he's the greatest goaltender of all time, no question about it. It's time for him to post a 210. We all know what's going to happen. He's going to post a 930 and a 210 here. We have the Sal Kraken in the first round. Let's just go for this three-peat. So maybe this is not going to be as easy as I thought. We allowed 7 goals in game number 1. This team has just not been good enough defensively. Offensively, we haven't been too bad. What is going on here? We're off to game 6. Like, seriously, what are we doing here? This team has won back-to-back Stanley Cups. We're not going to fall in the first round here. 2 goals in the first period. Seattle's going to respond in the second. It's going to be a big-time third period. Who's going to be scoring goals here? Zanetta, I can always rely on you. Like, when you're talking about the greatest players of all time, you're talking Wayne Gretzky, you're talking Connor McDavid, Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr, Robert Thomas. Then you got Zanetta in that conversation. Just a bunch of great players. I'm trying to say this without laughing. It's actually a lot more difficult than you think, including guys like Connor McDavid in that conversation with Robert Thomas. Obviously, that's not realistic. Okay, we lost in game 7. Maybe I should have spent less time yapping and more time focusing. We're out in the first round after winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. Yeah, it's not what we're looking for here. Hemming, you led the way in the postseason. You picked up 7 points in 7 games here. But Zanetta, what were you up to? Hopefully you were scoring some goals here. It doesn't look like you were. You were just non-existent. 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. When we're winning Stanley Cups, you're performing, and you did not do that this time around. What are the postseason numbers looking like compared to last season? Yeah, these 2 postseasons right here, you knew how to score the puck. This postseason right here, you're just non-existent, plain and simple. The goaltending numbers, I'm assuming they don't look good. Oh yeah, Makinen, a 917 to 246. That's not going to cut it. I mean, these numbers right here actually aren't that bad, and you had a shutout, so yeah, this wasn't on you. The offense didn't perform. So I don't know what's been going on these past couple drafts, but we have another medium elite potential gem right here. This guy's another goaltender. He's probably going to turn into a superstar as well. If we can somehow keep all these medium elite potential goaltenders on really cheap contracts, then we're going to be in a great spot. The problem is every single one after the entry level contract is looking for like $8-9 million, and yeah, we just can't afford that. Like, there's no way for us to even pay one medium elite potential goaltender that much money. That's why the medium star potential goaltenders, that's where it's at. Oh yeah, also when it comes to the rest of this draft, absolutely cooked, so we're going to trade the rest of our picks. And I mean, it's not really that many picks. It's a 4th and 5th rounder, but what can we get here? We can get a 3rd rounder from the Anaheim Ducks, 3rd round from the Buffalo Sabres. You know what? We're going to go with a 3rd rounder from Buffalo. Actually, you know what? We're getting Florida's 1st round pick. Josh Stone, actually, I don't want to take on that contract. I mean, it's only a contract for this season. Let's just do this deal right here. It's the first one we saw. We're getting the Rangers 3rd round pick. So when it comes to the re-signed phase, not too much is happening here. Hemming's going to be walking. Kuleshov, I'll qualify you as an RFA. Bits, I might even qualify you as an RFA here. Where are you looking for? 5.3 million. How much is your qualifying offer? Only 1.1. We can do that. This guy right here, we're probably just going to let walk as well. Actually, you know what? I'll qualify him as an RFA. He's got medium top 6 potential, so he should have some trade value. When it comes to goaltenders, nothing to worry about here. But yeah, all these other guys that really don't have any trade value or not much potential, they're going to be walking. So I think this could be a really good move for us. Ryder Ritchie over to the Winnipeg Jets. I know I was just gassing up Ryder Ritchie not that long ago, but now he's looking for $12 million. Meanwhile, Chevalier, he's only getting paid $7.8 million for the next 4 years. That's incredible. Allen, he could be a bottom 6 guy and a 3rd round pick. You never know what that's going to turn into. It's probably going to turn into a medium elite potential goaltender. Could have gotten a 2nd round pick in this deal, but you know what? It's the way she goes. We got some good players, that's for sure. So Chicago's got this really good young player, Korobov. He's an 86 overall with low elite potential. Low elite potential players are so underrated, it's ridiculous. Like, this guy's an 86 overall, and I'm giving up these 2 RFAs right here. They're not even playing for us right now. He's under contract for the next 2 years. We're freeing up money here. You know what? I'm really happy with that move. But this is where things are going to get complicated. So Ryan Bacher, you're not returning to the team. Makinen, you have to return to the team. How much are you looking for? 8.2 million. That's a bit expensive, but you know what? You've been a superstar goaltender for us, so I'm willing to give it to you. But here's 6.9. Actually, I'll make that $7 million for the next 5 years. That'll lock you down for the rest of your prime. When it comes to this guy right here, we're just going to let him walk. And this medium elite potential goaltender, I'll give you your entry level contract. So Ryan Bacher's not going to come back here. Barkov, how much are you going to be looking for? Only $3.3 million. We might be able to get this contract to happen. So how about $3 million for the next 2 years? I feel like that's pretty fair for you. And then with the rest of these players, we'll have to figure it out on the fly. Like, this is a good young defenseman right here, but I just can't pay him $6.8 million. So we have a couple new faces on the team. Chevalier is going to be new here. Allen's going to be new here. But you know what? They're going to find their role, and they're going to be great players for us. When it comes to the defense, you know what? That's actually looking phenomenal here. The only issue we're going to have is we're not going to be able to afford all these guys here. And when it comes to goaltending, Makinen, you're not the guy anymore. It's this player right here. Medium elite potential, 88 overall. Makinen, I've believed in you for the longest time, and I'm pretty sure I just gave you an extension. So yeah, that's not actually the smartest thing to do. You know what? Way she goes. You actually might get traded away. I'm not going to lie. I can't guarantee anything right now. If this guy can win us the Stanley Cup this season, we might have to stick with him. But there is one thing we have to do before we head into this season, because it's something I completely forgot to do at the draft. We have to get rid of Matthew Nyes, because Matthew Nyes is still under contract on this team, and he's only a 75 overall. So is there any team that is interested in Matthew Nyes? Of course not. So yeah, we're probably going to have to give up assets to get rid of him. So who is interested in 75 overall Matthew Nyes, who's getting paid $2.2 million? Is there any team whose trade block he fits? Probably not, but if I can find one team, that's the team he's going to get traded to. Okay, San Jose, you have a lot of money in cap space. You can take on this contract. So I'll give you a 7th round pick. Actually, I'll give you a 6th round pick, and you give me a 7th back. I think that's a pretty fair deal. So there we go. We're ditching the Matthew Nyes money. It's freeing up $2.2 million. A no-brainer for San Jose. Yeah, San Jose's got no brain if they're making that deal. So stopping at the trade deadline and picking up Hemming last season didn't really seem to help us. So we're going to simulate the entire season here, and ideally we win another Stanley Cup. The 2 years we won a Stanley Cup, we didn't make any changes at the trade deadline. The year we lost in the first round, we made a change at the trade deadline. So clearly we just have to keep the same team the entire season. Now I'm just incredibly disappointed. 6th in the entire league. Vancouver's fallen off. A bunch of frauds played for this team. Jordan Gavin, a complete fraud. Chevrolet was a fraud. That's his name from now on. This is Chevrolet. Dietz Zanetta, because every time I look at this name, I just want to say Chevrolet. I don't know why, but he's a Chevy. That's all that matters. Goaltending, this guy, fraud. Makinen, I might start you in the postseason, I'm not gonna lie. Between bringing in a new goaltender and having Chevrolet play on this team, I don't really know where we went wrong. Well, clearly we went wrong by bringing both of those guys onto the team. We got Vegas in the first round. Yeah, because Chevy and that new goaltender goaltender, definitely not the answer for us. But you know what? After all that smack I talked, we do have a 3-1 series lead on Vegas, and we are closing out in 5 games here, so what can I really complain about? Calgary, what is going on? Losing in the first round to the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, we can't sleep on the Blackhawks. Obviously, they're a good team if they're taking down Calgary, but yeah, Calgary, you're just a fraud. I mean, now that I've called Calgary frauds, I really hope that the Chicago Blackhawks don't beat us, because then that would be a terribly bad take. We lost the first 3 games, we got swept. Okay, that didn't happen. Nope, that didn't happen. We swept the Chicago Blackhawks, the game glitched. Chevy, you let me down. That other goaltender is an absolute bum. Yeah, it's that goaltender and Chevy's fault. Chevrolet and that goaltender just holding us back. I can't believe that just happened. Well, I just can't believe the game glitched on me. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is incredibly tough. Shout out to the Montreal Canadiens, Stanley Cup champions. Salary cap's going up here. I don't really know what we're going to do. We got to make a couple small changes to the team. I mean, we were still a good team, 4th in the entire league. But yeah, Chevrolet, you held us back. You were an absolute fraud. Also, I've just been referring to him as the new goaltender. Philtroff, you absolutely suck. Chevrolet, you're a bum as well. Okay, so I just offered this defenseman a contract right here. Did not expect him to accept it. Medium league potential. I gave him 5 years at 7.2 million. He was looking for about 8.5, and he said yes to it. So yeah, that's going to be the loan signing. We have 800K in cap space. I'll qualify this RFA, but everyone else is going to have to walk here. When it comes to goaltenders, this guy's going to walk. But yeah, very surprised that deal was accepted. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do here. It's going to be 13.5 million for the next 6 years. I'm just going to hope you accept that contract. If you don't, we're probably not going to be re-signing you. When it comes to the rest of the guys here, we're just going to be in a tough spot. So we have no money to work with. We basically have to simulate right to next season. This guy's declined to be our goaltending coach. You know what? Heck with him. We don't want him on the team anyway. We're going to win without that man. We're going to work with the team we have. We have to simulate the entire season because we have no money. We got 800K. We can't make trades with only 800K. So we're going to simulate throughout this entire season, jump right into the playoffs. We will stop to look at the team, but not much is changing here. So we're 15 years in here, and I think we've won 3 Stanley Cups so far. Probably should have about 5 Stanley Cups, but we're not going to talk about it. The team's looking really good here. Chevrolet, you better not hold us back this season. Yeah, you don't have a good line fit here, but you know what? If the team sees success, that's all that matters. When it comes to the defense, the top 2 pairings are great. We're not going to talk about the 3rd pairing. I do want to mention we have reached that point in the video where people get completely unreasonable. This guy right here, who's a 76 overall, you know how much money he wants a free agency? $8 million. A 76 overall wants $8 million. Literally nothing I can do about that. I'm not going to give him that type of money. Even this goaltender right here, I don't think I can afford to give him $13 million. Every single player in the league believes they're worth $13 million now, so we just got to find those cheap players on great contracts. Also, Makinen, I'm paying you $7 million to be our backup goaltender. Probably not ideal. So I think this is the deal we're going to do. Philtroff and Barker, because Barker, you're 23 years old and you're only a 68 overall. You are not reaching medium elite potential, plain and simple. So I'm going to trade you over. We're going to get this medium elite potential centerman. He was drafted pretty high up, 2nd overall in the last draft. He's going to immediately jump into our lineup. He's going to be our 3rd line centerman. Edmonton's going to be finessing us here, but you know what? It's working out in the long run. Makinen, you're still the guy here. I'm going to rely on you. I think that was the big difference. Makinen wasn't the starter last season. Every time this guy's the starter in the postseason, we're seeing success. And now that he's back taking the reins, we're good to go. So you guys all saw the salary cap situation, and it's definitely not going to get any better for the Vancouver Canucks over the next decade. So from here on out, we're just simulating the entire season. The team we start with is going to be the team we finish with. I don't really think there's anything else we can do. Like, we cannot trade players away in order to get better. That's not going to happen. If we're trading players away, we're trading an $11 million contract. That means we're going to be taking on an $11 million player, and I know for a fact our $11 million guy is better than your $11 million guy. So I'm not proud about what happened this season. A 46 win campaign. What just happened to the Vancouver Canucks? We used to be some dominant franchise, and here we are, 46 wins. I mean, that's 8th in the entire league. It's not that bad. But yeah, we used to be like number 1, number 2 in the entire league. 50 win seasons every single year, and then this happened right here. Zanetta, only 74 points. You used to pick up 68 goals in a season. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what changed. Chevrolet, you're gone. Plain and simple. Davidson, you're probably gone. Dietz, you might be gone as well. Yeah, we got to bring in some new players here. Makinen, you're the only bright spot for this team. Step it up in the playoffs, we'll win another Stanley Cup. Like, when in doubt, just rely on Makinen. That guy is something special. We have the LA Kings in the first round. They're heavily favored against us, but you know what? They don't have Makinen and we do. So we've been exchanging games with the LA Kings. The series is tied 2-2. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. Who's going to be taking the lead? It looks like the LA Kings, so we need Game 6 elimination. So here we go, Game 6 elimination. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the LA Kings. We got to pick up some goals fast here. We're exchanging goals. They're picking up one in the first period. We're picking up one in the second. second. The third period is going to decide this game, and it looks like it's going to be all Vancouver. We're potting 4 here. We're taking it 5-2. So we survived elimination in game 6. Can we do it again in game 7 here? It's going to be a tough one because we have to make a third period comeback, but we were able to score in the third period in the last game. Jordan Gavin, he's going to pick up a late third period goal to force overtime, and in overtime we're going to be following. That's a tough way to go out. Losing in the first round once again. Mackinnon, maybe you're just not the guy anymore. Oh boy. I don't even want to look at the offense for this team. Mackinnon, what has happened to you? A 902 and a 307? Mackinnon, you're not that guy. I'm paying you $7 million to not be that guy. I'm heartbroken by numbers like this. But you know what that means? It's time for a massive turnover. We're going to trade a lot of people. We got to rebuild this team. Vancouver was a massive disappointment. Nobody is safe when it comes to trades. Zanetta, you can get traded. Jordan Gavin, you can get traded. When I say nobody's safe, I mean nobody's safe. Svensson, you're one of the best defensemen in the league. I'm not afraid to trade you if I have to. The Calgary Flames are winning the Stanley Cup. Congrats to them. Salary cap's going to be going up here. But yeah, nothing is off the table. We might have to trade for the first overall pick. The big thing we got to do here is we have to decide on 6 forwards that are going to be our key guys from here on out. We need 6 forwards, 3 defensemen. Everyone else can just be roster fillers. I'm talking 78 overall, 79 overall players that are just going to play some bottom 6 minutes or third pairing defensive minutes. But we have to decide on 9 guys, including a goaltender, so make that 10 that are going to carry this team to the Stanley Cup. Well, who would have seen this one coming? A medium-league potential goaltender. We're selecting him 20 picks early, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. You know why? He's a gem. Another medium-league potential goaltender that's a gem, he's going to turn into a star player as well. And on top of getting that medium-league potential goaltender, where we can be securing with the 87th overall, a medium-league potential center. So we're getting great draft pick after great draft pick here. Okay, you guys just have to let me cook here. A medium-league potential offensive defenseman. This guy's going to have a ton of trade value. That centerman we drafted is going to have a ton of trade value. We're picking up elite potential player after elite potential player here. Our future is going to be very bright. I mean, as long as all these guys develop. If they don't develop, then we're screwed. But you know what? We could potentially have a very good team. So all the RFAs are going to get qualified here because a lot of them are looking for some big time deals here. Sotheby, where you can be looking for, oh, you're only looking for 1.3 million. We could probably do an 8-year deal with you. I'm actually willing to do this right here. So $2 million for the next 8 years. We don't have the cap space. Never mind. We're going to make some big time trades here. We got to free up a lot of cap space because I want to make sure that a lot of these young guys are sticking around. Alright, so we got to make some big changes here. We have to worry about the future, and Gavin McKenna, unfortunately, you're not going to be part of the future here. You're 32 years old. We still have a handful of years left in this rebuild. You're not going to make it to the end. Olofsson, you can potentially make it to the end, though. 22 years old and 87 overall. You'd be a great player for us. Under contract for the next 5 years, we're going to make a trade like this. I'm going to have to include some draft picks, but you know what? That's just what has to happen here. I can't thank Jordan Gavin enough for what he's done for this franchise, but unfortunately, your time has passed. So this is the plan from here on out. We're going to have 6 superstar forwards, 3 great defensemen, and a superstar goaltender. Outside of that, the team's just going to be full of a bunch of depth pieces. If you can play good defense, you can be a defenseman for us. I don't care if you're a 78 overall. If you can play defense, you can play defense. When it comes to our bottom 6, if you can score goals from time to time and play good defense, you can play here. So Chevy, you absolutely sucked. This medium league potential defenseman, I really like him, but we just can't afford to keep both these guys on this team. So we're going to clear up $14 million. We're going to pick up Bolton. He's going to be a top line guy for us. I think this is a very smart trade. Bolton's going to play some number 1 line minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets up to an 89, maybe even a 90 overall. This is the move that we basically have to make. So Barkov, when I originally drafted you, I thought you were going to be a superstar player for us. You got that medium league potential. You're only 24 years old, and you still might live up to the hype. But you know what? We just don't have a place for you on this team. We're paying you $3 million. I can't afford that. So we're picking up Downey from the Carolina Hurricanes. We're also going to get 2 second-round picks here. I didn't expect to get 2 second-rounders, but I'm hoping I can get at least 1 here. We can definitely do more than 1 for 1, that's for sure, though. So if I can't get second-rounders, maybe a 3rd and 4th rounder, I feel like this is a pretty even trade, so I'm going to offer that over. Carolina's going to be saying yes, and that's a bit more money cleared up. 1.6 for the next 8 years. I'm absolutely doing this deal. I'll actually do 1.7, just because I feel like if I offer you 1.6, then you're just going to accept your qualifying offer. I'm going to give you a bit more than what you're asking for, and hopefully that's going to influence you to accept that deal. So after picking up a handful of forwards, we do have to improve the defense a little bit here. So Korobov, I'm going to send you over to Winnipeg. We're picking up Peverley in a 3rd round pick. Peverley's under contract for the next 2 years, so he's going to be a great player for us. He's going to help the salary cap situation a lot for this team. I can't get a 3rd rounder, so maybe I can get 2 4th rounders. Ideally, I want to get a bid draft compensation here. Maybe 1 4th rounder is going to be the answer. Okay, we're not getting any draft picks in this deal. I mean, I could have just offered a 7th rounder in order to get that 4th, but I don't really care about getting a 4th rounder that much. So we're going to make 2 free agent signings because I found some absolute steals deals here. This guy's going to be getting paid $1.5 million for the next 2 years, and then with this defenseman right here, I'm hoping to do a similar deal. It looks like it's going to be a bit more. It's going to be 1.7 for the next 2 years. Considering what all these other defensemen are asking for, those are incredible deals. Like, there's 80 overalls asking for $7 million. Those boys are wildin'. So meet the new Vancouver Canucks. Olsen, Zanetta, Bolton on the top line, Murley, Davidson, and Dietz on the second. The bottom six has some great boosts here, +2 here, +2 there, so I think we're in a great spot. Defensively, we have a lot of great defensemen. You know what? We got some great line chemistry, so I think we actually might be better than we were last season. And of course, when it comes to goaltending, I'm going to believe in Mäkinen no matter what. This man could lose every single game during the regular season, but if we somehow get into the playoffs because this guy wins every single game, then yeah, I'm going to believe in Mäkinen and he'll still be the starter in the playoffs. Now, this is a big bounce back season for the Vancouver Canucks. We're back to first in the entire league with a 53-20-9 record. And the one thing I'm most happy about is this is the team we're basically going to be rocking with for the rest of the video. As long as we can keep all these guys around, we're going to do so. Olsen, he was great, 78 points here. Zanetta, 74 points, 48 goals. We already know he's going to be scoring. Dietz was great. I mean, the offense was great here, but the goaltending, that was even better. Look at Mäkinen here, 41 wins, 0 shutouts. That is something to really think about. Like, this man had 0 shutouts this season. That never happens. Like, we really went the entire season without anyone picking up a shutout here. Mäkinen, a 909 to 264, but yeah, definitely not as good as you used to be. Like, there's been seasons where you've picked up 7 shutouts, and here you are this season picking up 0. So yeah, the confidence is fading a little bit, not gonna lie. But what am I talking about? It's Mäkinen we're talking about. Postseason Mäkinen, that's a different beast right there. Nobody's able to beat this man. I mean, it's happened a few times, but we're not going to discuss those times he lost. We only discuss the times he's won, and he's done that a handful of times. So let's do it again here. We got the Minnesota Wild in the first round. It's time for Vancouver to hoist another Stanley Cup. It's been too long. Alright, so as we know, we don't have a ton of picks in the upcoming draft here, but we do have a couple. Like, we have the 28th overall. You might be wondering, why are we at the draft here and not looking at the postseason? Yeah, you don't need to worry about what happened in the postseason. We went 16-0. We swept the Stanley Cup. Oh, this would be a really great prospect. But yeah, no, we swept the Stanley Cup. 16-0 in the postseason. It was an absolute breeze for us. Definitely didn't get swept in the first round to the Minnesota Wild and only scored 2 goals in the entire series. Yeah, that definitely didn't happen. And then look at that, a low elite potential player here. That guy's going to be great for us in the future. And if the drafting wasn't good enough, look who we're going to be securing with the 92nd overall, a high elite potential goaltender. You never know, he might take the reins in the future. So we're late in the draft here, and the 6th and 7th round aren't really showing me anything interesting, so I'll trade for a future 3rd round pick from the Calgary Flames. Yeah, so if you want to see the playoff bracket, here it is. Yeah, the game glitched. We definitely went 16-0 and definitely didn't lose to Minnesota in the first round. Like, that was a tough loss, I'm not gonna lie. We're not looking at anyone's numbers, just know it was tough. I mean, when is a first round exit not tough though? So we've qualified a handful of RFAs here, and the plan is I'm going to package a bunch of these guys up, and then we're just going to fill out the bottom 6. But it really sucks that we're going to be losing this guy right here. He's got high top 6 potential now. He's probably going to turn into a really good player. But you know what? We just don't have the money to afford him. So we got some big time extensions to give out, and I'm very scared. Svensson, what are you going to be looking for here? Okay, it's under 20 million, but even still, 18.4? That's a yikes. But it is a known fact that defensemen do ask for absolute bags here, but I think we probably could do around 16 million for him. So here's 16 million for the next 8 years. We could probably make something like that happen. So this is going to be the first trade of the offseason. We're going to be picking up Hunwick and a 3rd round pick from the Winnipeg Jets. Now Hunwick, I have a pretty good idea of what you're going to be looking for when it comes to an extension, so that's why I'm trading for you. I think we could probably lock you down 3 years at like 1.8 million, and that would definitely work for this team. And then when it comes to the Minnesota Wild, we're going to be doing a 1-for-1 here. We're basically just going to be exchanging players. They're getting one RFA, we're getting another RFA. For some reason, they think the RFA they got's a lot better. I mean, technically he is, but this guy's also going to be wanting a lot cheaper. The guy we acquired, we're going to be signing for like way less. So Hunwick, this is the contract we're going to lock you down to. It's going to be 1.7 for the next 4 years. That's going to help this team's salary cap situation a ton. Meanwhile, the guy we got from the Minnesota Wild, that's going to be another great deal. It's 1.5 for the next 5. So running an almost identical team to last season probably isn't the move here, but you know what? We were first in the entire league. Yeah, we fell apart in the playoffs. That's not going to happen this time around. The defensive core still looking amazing. The forward core still great here. Mäkinen, I need a big bounce back season from you. You're 31 years old. You're an 85 overall. You might not be that young goaltender you used to be, but you know what? You know how to win in the postseason. We're just going to completely ignore what happened in the last postseason. I don't really want to talk about what happened in the last postseason. Mäkinen, I still believe you can be the guy for us. However, if you do suck in the playoffs once again here, I will trade you away. I can't be having you suck multiple years in a row. So we weren't first in the entire league, but none of that's because of the Vancouver Canucks. The Pittsburgh Penguins are just that good. First in the entire league with a 62-15-5 record. What can you do about that? We were still looking fantastic. 56-20-6. I don't have an issue with how Vancouver played this season. However, I I would like the offense to be a bit better here. Yeah, we have some great depth scoring, but 79 points probably shouldn't be leading the way. Zanetta, you had 43 goals, so I mean, you're still looking elite here. What we really need is the bottom 6 scoring to be stepping up here. Meanwhile, Makinen, it's a massive bounce back season. 45 wins, 6 shots, a 917 to 243. He's got a chip on his shoulder and he's ready to roll into the postseason. We got the Winnipeg Jets in the first round. We have to bounce back from that disappointing loss we had to Minnesota, but we're not going to talk about that loss. So I'm happy to say we've won at least 2 games so far, but Winnipeg's also won 2. So game 5 is going to be a big one. It looks like Makinen's going to be stepping up. He's picking up a massive shutout. Can he do it again in game number 6 here? He's only allowing 1 goal. As long as Makinen continues to play like this, we're going to be bringing home a Stanley Cup. So moving into the second round, looks like we got ourselves an all-Canadian matchup. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Calgary Flames, but the conference finals could be a tough task. The St. Louis Blues or Dallas Stars, those are 2 great teams right there, but you know what? We got to take it game by game. Now, I guess we didn't have to focus on the Calgary Flames. It's just sheer dominance. We're taking them down in a quick sweep. So we advanced to the conference finals, and now we have to take on the Dallas Stars. They just swept the St. Louis Blues. They actually have a better record than the Vancouver Canucks right now. They're 8-1 in the postseason. We're 8-2, so it's going to be a battle of 2 great teams here. So the Canucks aren't messing around. A 3-1 series lead against the Dallas Stars. They're looking to take them out early here. They're not going to do it in game number 5, but they will do it in game number 6. A massive 7-3 victory. We're off to the Stanley Cup final. Who are we going to be taking on here? It looks like it's going to be Vancouver versus Buffalo. Now, it's 2 great teams here. Vancouver, you got to play at the top of your game. That's what you've been doing the entire postseason so far. Okay, we're going to game 5 and we're facing elimination. So here we go, game 5. Vancouver, I need you to wake up here. We can't be falling in game number 5 here. Buffalo currently has a 3-2 series lead. We got to step up when it matters the most here. Are we going to be able to do that? Yes, we are. Davidson's going to pick up a goal in the 3rd period. Overtime's going to decide this one. If Buffalo scores, they win the Stanley Cup. If we score, we're forcing another game here. What's going to happen? Leroy, that's a massive OT goal right there. We're off to game 6. So here we go, game number 6. Vancouver, can we pick up back-to-back wins here? That's exactly what we have to do. Okay, 3rd period is going to decide this one. It's tied 0-0. We got to pick up a goal here. Okay, one of the goaltenders in this game is going to be picking up a shutout. And you know what? I believe in Makinen. I think he can be the guy for us. He's going to be allowing a goal like 2 minutes in. But you know what? Can you really put this on Makinen? He was absolutely incredible the entire game. The offense completely disappeared when it mattered most. So the offense just wasn't good enough. But I mean, like, we were producing here. The goaltending we already know is going to be fantastic. Makinen, what were you up to? Oh, not too much. Just 1 shot, a 921, a 242. Like, this guy's been very good in the postseason for us in most of the seasons. Of course, we're not talking about last season. And we're not going to talk about the few first-round exits we've had. But you know what? The offense just had to be a bit better here. Olofsson, you had 14 goals. That's pretty good. But where is Zanetta? 4 goals in 22 games. You're supposed to be the big goal scorer, and you absolutely vanished when it mattered most. You're the reason that we're not bringing home a Stanley Cup. Dalton Zanetta, it's all your fault. I'm blaming it on you. So, of course, I was incredibly disappointed in losing in the Stanley Cup final like that. But you know what? This is actually some good vibes right here. We're selecting Summers, a 69 overall with medium league potential. By the time we sign him to his entry-level contract, he might be able to jump into the lineup, and then we're going to have a really cheap player for 3 years. Now, I'm happy to say that's not the only medium league potential forward we're going to be drafting, because we're also going to be securing one with the 127th overall, and this guy was also a gem. And then to cap it all off, in the 6th round with the 191st overall, we're going to be getting a low league potential sniper. But the best part about this player right here, who would have seen this one coming? He's also a gem. Now, similar to the past couple re-sign phases, not too much is happening. The RFAs are going to be qualified, but the UFAs, they're going to have to walk. And more than likely, that's how it's going to be for the rest of the video here, so don't be surprised if I don't show you the re-sign phase from here on out. If I am re-signing a player though, I will show you. So there's one guy that we have to give an extension to, and that's going to be Murley. How much is he going to be looking for? 12.1 million. We could definitely do less than that, so you're going to be returned to the team. So how does 10.8 for the next 7 years sound? That's going to lock you down long term here. I think that might keep you around for the rest of the rebuild. So we're in free agency, and honestly, I'm just trying to find the cheapest players imaginable here. So we're going to give this defenseman right here 1.1 million for the next 2 years. And then when it comes to this defenseman, I'll do a 1-year deal, 1.6 million. So we're going to make a trade here with the Kraken, and it's going to be 2 RFAs sent over there, and we're going to be picking up Reeves. He's got medium league potential, under contract for the next 2 years at $1 million. We can definitely work with that. So of course, we still have to fill out the bottom 6 here, so we're going to be acquiring this low league potential player from the Edmonton Oilers, and then we're going to make a deal with the St. Louis Blues. And the reason we're making a deal with the St. Louis Blues is they got a pretty good young player in Butler, so we're trading a couple picks here and somebody we qualified as an RFA. So I'm slightly concerned with this team right now. Like, Olofsson's only an 84 overall, and we're paying this man 12.4 million right now. Like, what has happened to you? I thought you were going to be a big player, and you're playing some top line minutes, so there's no reason that you shouldn't be progressing right now. But you know what? This is the team that made all the way to the Stanley Cup final and lost. we're in a great spot still. We got a ton of great players. Makinen, you're an 87 overall and you got one X factor. We have a medium league potential goaltender backing him up that might take the reins in the next couple seasons, so you never know what's going to be happening here. This team's showing a lot of potential. We just have to live up to that potential. So with another season complete, it's another season with the Vancouver Canucks finishing at the top of the league, a 59-17-6 record. The team's looking phenomenal. But I do want to point out that defense, 2.52, that's the best in the entire league by far. And our offense, that's going to be one of the best here, second in the entire league. So we have the second best offense and the best defense in the entire league. But somehow this offense right here is second best in the entire league. I will never understand it. Olofsson, I don't know what's wrong with you. You just lost your X factor. You're an 84 overall, medium league potential, and you just put up 80 points. Why are you regressing? It makes no sense. It's actually starting to annoy me a bit. You had 38 goals as well. You led the team in goals. I don't really know what's wrong with you, but yeah, we might have to trade you away. Makinen, what an absolute hero. Just the greatest goaltender of all time. And you know what? He's made some deep postseason runs. I'm expecting another one here. We got the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round, but Makinen doesn't lose. The team loses in front of Makinen. Now, we're really surprised the Chicago Blackhawks can't compete with the Vancouver Canucks. Makinen, the goaltending has been phenomenal from you, but you know what? It's been good enough to allow us to advance to the second round. So we got past Chicago, no surprise about that. Now it's an all-Canadian matchup in the second round. I feel like I've seen this before, and last time these two teams matched up, it definitely went in Vancouver's favor. So what's going to happen this time around? The exact same story, except we're scoring way more goals this time. So we've reached the conference finals yet again here. Now it's the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Dallas Stars. Vancouver's looking to make back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, but they're looking for a different outcome in the Cup final. So it's a clean sweep over the Dallas Stars, 12-1 in the postseason, and now we're moving on to the Stanley Cup final. Who are we going to be taking on? Another Canadian team, the Montreal Canadiens. I would turn the face cam on, but the camera overheated, so yeah, we can't really worry about that. We got to worry about what's going on in front of us. We're currently down 3-1. Who cares if the camera overheated? We're down 3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens. Things aren't looking good. Zanetta, though, keep scoring goals, because you're pretty good at that so far. Also, we won 59 games and they won 43. What's going on here? All right, so game number 5 here. We're currently down 3-1 in the series. Vancouver, I need you to spark a massive comeback here. We have a 1-goal lead entering the third period, and we're going to hold on to that 1-goal lead. We're moving on to game 6. So we have a big game 6 in front of us. We were down 3-1 in the series, but we're slowly fighting back. 3 goals in the first period, 2 in the second. Are we going to score a couple more goals? It looks like it will be. Game 7 for the Stanley Cup. It all comes down to one game. In order to win this Stanley Cup, we need one thing, and that's a Makinen masterclass. We're going to be giving up the first goal of the game, and then 3 right after that. Why did I try to gas up Makinen? 5 goals allowed. We allowed 5 goals in game number 7. The 2 games we won, we only allowed 2 goals. I can't believe that just happened. Makinen, you completely folded when it mattered most. I don't care if the offense didn't score any goals. You allowed 5 goals in game 7. The offense wasn't even that bad. The goaltending from Makinen, subpar to say the least. 15 wins, 1 shot, a 910 and a 265. You can do better than that. I've seen you do better than that. And in game 7, when it mattered most, you disappeared. I'm sick to my stomach. Ain't no way that just happened. So that's back-to-back years where we've lost in the Stanley Cup final. That's going to be back-to-back years where we're securing medium league potential forwards. But these forwards mean nothing if we're not winning. So we got some big-time extensions to give out here. Like Leroy's looking for money. Zanetta's looking for money. Dietz is looking for money. And you know what? I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hold on to all these guys here. Leroy himself is looking for $15 million. I don't think we can do that if you're playing second pairing minutes for us. Zanetta, we can definitely keep you around. You've been a great player for us, but I do want to do longer than 6 years. So we have some big time deals to give out, and the first one's going to be with Zanetta here. We're doing $12.2 million for the next 6 years. We're going to keep him around for the rest of the rebuild. Leroy, I don't think we can keep you around here. You're looking for $15 million. We can't afford that. And Dietz, how much are you going to be looking for here? $12.1 million. I'm not too sure if we can do that either. So I think we're going to make a trade. Dietz and Leroy are going to be leaving the team. Reeves, I mean, you could jump into the top 6, and at what price tag? Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So Reeves is going to be rejoining the team for the next 6 years here. We're going to be doing $9.7 million, and then Dietz, we're going to trade you away. And then we'll also keep a guy like Richie around. I mean, he's only looking for $1.9 million, so why not do that? Now, Makinen, unfortunately, we're not going to be bringing you back to the team here. You're 33 years old. I feel like you're going to age out, but we will keep you around for this final season. And then when it comes to Kukkonen, I can give him a 3-year deal, and he can be our starter after this season. We'll do 3.4 for the next 3. So this is the trade we're going to do. It's going to be Leroy for fast, and we're also getting a couple second rounders. He's only getting paid $6.5 million for the next 2, so we can basically ride out that contract. They're going to say no to 2 second rounders, but I would like to get 1 here. Am I really not going to be able to get any draft picks. No, you got to give me some third and fourth rounders or something. So maybe 2 fourth rounders and a third rounder. I feel like that's pretty fair. So I'm going to offer this package over. They're saying no. I'll take out 1 fourth rounder and then we'll be able to get it done. All right, so Cam, you have medium elite potential. I was thinking you were going to turn to a superstar for us, but at 22 years old, you're only a 71, so I don't think you're going to reach that medium elite potential. But you know what? We could pick up this guy from the Rangers. He was just drafted. He's a good defenseman under contract for the next 3 years. This is the trade that we have to do. I'll include the 4th round picks that we got from that last trade. I think it was a 3rd and 4th rounder. So this package right here is going to be sent over to the Rangers. We're getting this one done. Now we just have to make a few more small tweaks to the bottom 6. So this team just continues to confuse me at this point. Olofsson, he's back up to an 86 overall. He's got an X factor. Davidson, on the other hand, he's dropped to an 84 and he lost a couple. I don't know how the progression works in this game, but sometimes it doesn't make sense. Our third line's looking impeccable though, so you know what? That's going to help this team a lot. Defensively, we're still in a great spot. I think we actually might be better here. Our second pairing's looking way better than it has in the past, an 85 overall and an 82. And then when it comes to the goaltending, Mäkinen, it's your final season with the team. You're only an 85 overall. Kukkonen, you'll be taking over next season, but let's get one last Stanley Cup with Mäkinen. He's made back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, but he hasn't found a way to win in Game 7, so we got to be able to do that this time around. So I think this is tied for our best season yet. First in the entire league, a 63, 14, and 5 record. The offense was on a different level, and so was the defense this season, but that's the thing that confuses me. Why was our offense all of a sudden a lot better? Bolton, he had 101 points here. Murley, he had 82. Zanetta's picking up 79. Davidson's picking up 79. Okay, Olofsson, you were just terrible this season. I can't even gas you up. You were just not that guy. But you know what? The offense was good, and that's what's helping this team a lot. Meanwhile, Mäkinen, he's looking for one more Stanley Cup. Look at the elite numbers he put up. And then Kukkonen is the backup. Yeah, this guy's definitely taking over next season. No question about it. Mäkinen, it's your last chance with the Vancouver Canucks. So if it's your last chance, I need you to lock in an all-Canadian matchup in the first round. We haven't seen the Edmonton Oilers in a while. In the second round, though, you know who I'm looking forward to taking on? The Calgary Flames, because we already know how that series is going to go. So that was a nice little warm-up for the boys. A quick sweep over the Edmonton Oilers, finishing it off with a shutout in game number 4. That's what I like to see. So we've moved on to the second round, and guess who we get to sweep next? It looks like it's going to be the Calgary Flames. Now, I'm speechless right now. We lost the first 3 games. We almost got swept by the Calgary Flames. But you already know what's about to happen here. We're going to spark a 3-0 series comeback. We've already won game number 4. Let's move on to game 5. Like, I'm sorry, but no way this is the season that Calgary finally beats Vancouver. We're going to score the first goal of the game. We're picking up another 2 after that. We should have this game locked down. We're going to be taking this one 3-2. So we won game 4 and we've won game 5. Can we win game 6 here? We have a 3-1 series lead. Make that a 4-4 game. Okay, when things were looking good, we immediately choked. So we got to wake up in the third period. Fast is going to pick up a massive goal in the third period and we're off to game 7. So Calgary almost swept us, but we fought all the way back. We're off to game 7 here. The one thing I'm concerned about is the fact that this team hasn't stepped up in game 7 over the past few years. But you know what? That's about to change right now. We're exchanging goals in the third period. OT is going to be deciding this one. And what's going to happen? Zanetta, I can always rely on you. We're making the 3-0 series comeback and we're off to the conference finals. Calgary, you had a chance to get your revenge and sweep us, but we're going to win 4 straight games. Like, that is just plain tough. So we've got all the momentum right now, and I don't think we're going to be choking this one away. We're moving on to the conference finals. We have the Nashville Predators up next. Let's take down the Nashville Predators and move on to our 3rd straight Stanley Cup final. Just look at Vancouver. This team is just built different. We made a 3-0 series comeback against the Calgary Flames. What are we going to do against the Nashville Predators? We're just going to sweep them, making it 8 straight wins here. Can we make it 12 straight wins and sweep the Florida Panthers? It all comes down to this matchup right here. Can we get a Stanley Cup with Mäkinen? We might be able to. I mean, we split the series 2 games apiece, so game 5 is going to be a massive one. For some reason, I thought we were down 3-1 in this series, but nope. We're actually up 3-2 in this series. Can we close it out in game number 6 and be Stanley Cup champions? Mäkinen's doing it in his final season with the team. He's made it to 3 straight Stanley Cups. He's had 2 disappointing exits, but this time around, he's finally going to close it out. Like, when push came to shove, Mäkinen was stepping up, but so was that top 6. But you know what? Mäkinen's always the guy leading the way here. 15 wins, 3 shots, a 908 and a 281. These numbers right here might not be the best, but that is your 3rd Stanley Cup with the team, so we can definitely celebrate here. I mean, I'm happy, but I'm also sad here because Mäkinen, that was your final season with the team. You won another Stanley Cup here, but you're not going to be winning anymore. It's time for us to move on. Alright, so since we didn't lose in the Stanley Cup final, you know what that means. No super elite prospects in the draft. I mean, we only had 3 picks, so are we really shocked about that? Not really. We're still going to be riding that Stanley Cup high. There's no question about that. So we're going to need ourselves a backup goaltender, so why not go with this guy for the next 3 years? He's a 77 overall, medium elite potential at 21 years old. He'll definitely be able to be a goaltender in the future for us. Meanwhile, when it comes to this high elite potential goaltender, I'm probably just going to want to do a 3-year deal or something. Meanwhile, when it comes to this other medium elite potential goaltender, I think we might just let them walk. Like, I can't afford to lock them down to a long-term deal, especially since at 25 years old, they're only an 80 overall. They're not going to develop into much. So So when it comes to Bolton, we're probably not going to bring him back here because he's looking for way too much money. Olofsson, he's looking for way too much money here. They're both looking for $16 million. We can't afford to do that. Fast, we could probably keep him around, but you know what? I think the plan is just to ride out his contract for this season, and then we'll worry about the future after that. All right, so Bolton, you're not coming back here. This medium league potential defenseman's not going to turn into too much here, so we're going to ship him out as well. We're going to get Rycroft. He's under contract for the next 5 years. He's already a 90 overall. He'll be sticking around for the rest of the rebuild. This is a deal that we have to make here. They're going to say no to 2 second rounders, but we will get one. So Olofsson, you're going to be the next player shipped out along with the first and second round pick. We're going to get Ennis, 11.8 million. That's going to be an easy contract to fill on this team. It's basically what you're getting paid right now. It's actually less than that. You're getting paid 12.2. So we're going to free up about 400K in a deal like this. We just have to get it done. Now, more than likely, we're going to have to give up some of these medium league potential prospects, but honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like this guy right here, 64 overall, 21 years old. He's not going to turn into anything. Like, look at Summers. He's a 78 overall, 21 years old. He might even jump into the lineup, so we're going to do this trade right here. I mean, I could probably take the first rounder out of this, and we could probably just do something like this. I'm going to offer that over. They're going to say no, but we're just a bit low, so a 7th rounder will make the difference. So here's a 2045 7th rounder, and Ennis, welcome to the team. So we've done some great drafting over the last couple of years, and now it's time to utilize these players. I'm going to send them over along with 2 second round picks to the Chicago Blackhawks. We're going to get Colbert. He's going to play some third pairing minutes for us, an 84 overall, under contract for the next 2 years at 1.1 million. We can definitely make this work. They're saying no to that deal, but what if I just do a first and second round pick? So I'll give up our first round pick for this season. That's not going to have a ton of value, but it's going to be enough to get this deal to happen. Now, we've made a few adjustments to the team. That includes bringing in a new coach, and I think that's for the best here. +5, +3, +2 when it comes to line chemistry. The team's looking phenomenal. Well, that's the forward core. The defense, we're going to ignore the third pairing here. Yeah, we got some decent overalls with again a -2 boost. The top pairing is getting a +5, so that's going to make up for it. However, the goaltending, that's the real issue. Kukkonen, I was really expecting a lot more from you. Like, you're only an 83 overall. I was expecting you to be at least an 85, maybe an 86 by now. Ferguson, you're only an 81 overall. So the goaltending is definitely going to be the one weak point for this team. But you know what? We're going to be scoring a lot of goals here, so I think we'll make up for it. So even with subpar goaltending, this team's going to find a way to exceed expectations. Another 60 win campaign. We're picking up 60 wins this time around. And when it comes to the goaltending, that's actually still looking pretty solid here. 2.65. I was expecting that to be way worse. Even our defense, I wasn't expecting to be as good because that third pairing was a bit lacking. But look at the scoring here. Look at all these guys above 80 points. Look at all the point per game scores we had. No, this might be the best season we've had yet. And when it comes to the goaltending, Kukkonen, you definitely lived up to the hype here. 53 wins, 3 shots, a 910, 263. You're still only an 83 overall, but you're looking pretty good right now. So we've made it to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, and then the last final we made 2, we were able to win a Stanley Cup. So let's make that 4 straight Stanley Cup finals and 2 straight cups. Now, all I'm going to say here is we've won 20 more games than the Nashville Predators. They were a 41 win team. We're a 61 win team here. All right, we're winning this game. That's pretty important. Now, of course, I still have faith in the Vancouver Canucks. Like, we made a 3-0 series comeback last time. We have a 5-1 lead here. Okay, we're going to be winning this game. That wasn't much of a fight. So yeah, here we go. Game 7. We were down 3-1 in this series, but we've been fighting back. We're going to allow the first goal of the game, but we're going to respond the second with 2 of our own. So the third period is going to decide this one, and it looks like Vancouver's going to keep on scoring. A 3-1 series comeback to win the series. So we made a big comeback against the Nashville Predators, and now that Vancouver's rolling, I'm not sure if anyone can stop them. So it's time for us to head over to the second round, and we're going to be taking on the Seattle Kraken. So it looks like we're done messing around here. We have a 3-1 series lead against the Seattle Kraken. We're taking them out in 5 games. Nashville might have given us the only scare because now we're locked in. So with a win in the conference finals, it's going to be 4 straight Stanley Cup appearances for the Vancouver Canucks. We have a tough matchup though, the St. Louis Blues. We already know this team's going to be elite, but you know what? The Vancouver Canucks are even better. They also don't have Robert Thomas anymore, so there's no way they're stopping us. So you remember how I said there's no way the St. Louis Blues are going to stop us? Well, that backfired real quick here. Maybe not. We have a 3-2 series lead. We split the series through the first 4, but it looks like Vancouver's waking up, but we do need game 7. So here we go. Game 7, the Vancouver Canucks taking on the St. Louis Blues. It all comes down to this one game, and right now things are looking great. We have a 5-2 lead, and we're going to be taking it 6-2. We're back in the Stanley Cup final for the 3rd year in a row. Did I say 3rd year in a row? Make that 4th year in a row. Now, we've seen a sight like this before, an all-Canadian matchup, but this time it's going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Who's going to be taking this one? I think it's safe to say that the Vancouver Canucks are going to win this one. We were up 3-0 in the series, so as long as we don't have a massive collapse, which we won't, we're going to be Stanley Cup champions. Back-to-back Stanley Cups, 2 Stanley Cups in the last 4 appearances. This team's looking elite, and we're going for the 3-peat next year and our 5th appearance in a row. Similar to the last time we won the Stanley Cup, when it came to the draft right after, and we're not going to pick up any superstars, we did get 2 lowly potential players who were gems, so you never know. If they develop pretty quick, they might be able to join the team for us. Now, when it comes to extensions, Gil, I think I will lock you down here because you only have a couple years left, and a 3-year deal will keep you around for the rest of the rebuild. So here's $15 million for the next 3. Davidson, more than likely, I think we're going to let you walk here. Yeah, you're looking for $15 million. That's not happening. Maybe we can lock down one of these young defensemen. If we can, that would be great, but they're probably going to be looking for bags as well. $13 million, we can't do that. What's this guy going to be looking for? $13 million as well. So we'll just write out their contracts and trade them away. I mean, one deal that's going to work out great for us is Summers. 1.9 for the next 3 years. That'll keep him around for the rest of the rebuild. So we're only going to make one trade before we head into next season on our cup defense. We're going to be picking up Jacobson from the Washington Capitals. He's a 76 overall. He can play some third pairing minutes. Other than that, the team's looking the exact same, barring the players we lost, of course, because we did lose a couple guys. So you already know what the drill is. First in the entire league, we all knew this was going to happen. Reeves is going to lead the way here, 95 points. The scoring wasn't as good this season, but you know what? As long as the big time players step up, we're going to be all right. When it comes to goaltending, who is our starter? It looks like our starter was Ricky, and is this Ricky Lafleur reincarnated? I think it might be. However, the goaltending numbers absolutely chopped here. So yeah, I'm a bit concerned heading into the postseason. The goaltending is not looking that great, but you know what? This team always steps up in the postseason, and we got the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. All we have to do is step it up once again here. We're going for the three-peat, and we're going for our 5th Stanley Cup final in a row. So it doesn't matter what our record is or who our goaltender is. Vancouver's always going to show up in the big time moments. We had a 3-1 series lead, but we're off to game 6 here, and now we're off to game 7. Okay, I'm very concerned. But you know what? Lately, this team hasn't had a problem showing up in game 7, so that's what we have to do again here. We're exchanging goals in the first period. In the second, it's going to be a scoreless one, but that's fine because Zanetta, he's picking up a goal in the third period here. Okay, I mean, technically he did, but then Kuleshov, he's picking up 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights. We're tied entering overtime, and in OT, what's going to happen? Oh, we really lost. We actually lost here in the first round. I am so used to this team constantly winning and constantly making it to the Stanley Cup final. I did not comprehend that we could blow a 3-1 series lead in the first round. That is heartbreaking. Now, what happened? What's the reason that we were just such a big disappointment? Ennis, you were okay. Was it the goaltending? It better not have been the goaltending. Oh my God, Ricky, you're gone. You're traded. Plain and simple, Ricky's never playing another minute for this franchise. Since this rebuild began, it's been great goaltender after great goaltender after great goaltender. And you're telling me once we get to season 21, that's when the goaltending is going to fall apart. That's just not right. Like, I don't even care who wins the Stanley Cup here. It might be the Vegas Golden Knights. Who knows? 4 straight Stanley Cup appearances. Vegas is winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, we lost to a good team. What can I say? But that's 4 straight Cup appearances, 2 straight Stanley Cups, only for us to fall in the first round. We got to get a new goaltender. We got to make some small changes, that's for sure. So we didn't win the Stanley Cup, and you already know what that means. We have to do a great job drafting a lowly potential gem in the first round, 66 overall power forward. I don't think he's going to develop in time, but if he does, he could be a valuable asset. And on top of that lowly potential player, we're going to get a mediumly potential goaltender here in the 3rd round. Hold on, are you telling me we're going to get more mediumly potential goaltenders? That definitely works for me. So the draft's looking a bit weak into the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. So we're just going to trade these picks away and get a future 3rd rounder from the Anaheim Ducks. So I made very clear that Ricky played his final game for this franchise. I'm trading him away here along with the 1st and 2nd rounder. We're getting Buckley. Now he's getting paid quite a bit of money right now, $11 million, but he's an 88 overall. He's the 2nd best goaltender in the league. We have to make this trade. So as we know, we're not going to be able to afford to bring these RFAs back, so we're going to have to trade them away. So this mediumly potential defenseman that's an 88 overall is going to be shipped to Philadelphia, and we're getting a 76 overall. Is this a smart trade? Absolutely not. But you know what? We're desperate. We have a lot of money tied into just a few players, so we have to give up pretty good assets in order to get good assets. I mean, we're just going to hope that this guy develops into a good player. They're going to say no to the 2nd round pick. Maybe we can get a 3rd and 4th rounder. I want to get some draft compensation. They're going to say no to this one. Can you at least give me a 3rd round pick here? I don't want to go 1 for 1, but I think that's what we're going to have to do here. We just got finessed. Now, trading for 76 overall players makes absolutely no sense. But you know what? They're going to develop on the 3rd pairing. They're under contract for the next 3 years at a cheap price, so we got to make deals like this. So we've improved the defense. Now it's time to improve the forward core. Actually, our defense is worse. There's no question about that. The forward core is going to be getting a nice addition here, but yeah, our defense is certainly worse. 76 overalls on the 2nd and 3rd pairing. We have 1 lockdown pairing, but the next 2 after that, yeah, it's pretty sketchy. So this is going to be the final deal we do here to improve our 4th line a little bit. This season is going to be very sketchy, I'm not going to lie. If we miss the playoffs, I wouldn't be completely shocked because yeah, the defense is absolutely cooked here. We do have a better goaltender, but this team right here is just not built well. So I really hope that this forward core is going to be enough for us to win a lot of games here, because this defense certainly definitely isn't good enough. Like 76 overall, 77, 78, 76, that is absolutely cooked. When it comes to goaltending, we're all right though. 88 overall Buckley, you're the guy that's going to be leading the way for us. You're going to get this team back to greatness, but that defense is absolutely cooked right now. So yeah, we just got to pray for a miracle. Okay, so this is way better than I was expecting. Third in the entire league. Our defense is absolutely abysmal when we finished third in the entire league. Okay, we had one of the best defenses. How does that work? It was 76 overalls here. That makes no sense. Maybe it's just the top guys are playing so much here, but there's no reason our defense should have looked that good. Then again, I just remembered who's in between the pipes for us. 39 wins, 3 shouts, a 901 and a 301. He's an 88 overall. He's the best goaltender we've had outside of Demko. So yeah, maybe that's the big difference. Now, although times are changing for the Vancouver Canucks, we're still expecting the same outcome when it comes to the postseason. We want to make it back to the Stanley Cup final. So it's the Calgary Flames we're taking on, so you already know we're not going to lose here. We're not even going to blow a 3-1 series lead. We're just going to win in 5 games. So we're moving on to the second round, but this is really our first true matchup. Like, the Calgary Flames are frauds. The Vancouver Canucks smoke them year in and year out. The LA Kings, on the other hand, this is actually going to be a bit of a challenge. So the LA Kings are definitely putting the pressure on, taking the first 2 games from us, but we're going to be responding, taking the next 2. So game 5 is going to be a massive one here. Who's going to be taking the lead in the series? It looks like it's the Vancouver Canucks. Can we win 4 straight games here? It doesn't look like it. We got to head to game 7. So here we go. Game 7, the Vancouver Canucks taking on the LA Kings. Vancouver has to have a big game here, and so far that's not happening. Unless we wake up, we're going to be losing this one. Lost it 4-1. What is with the Vancouver Canucks choking all of a sudden? Like, this team made 4 straight Stanley Cup appearances, winning 2 straight Stanley Cups, but since then, we've just completely folded. We're not the team we used to be, but you know what? We'll bounce back. Like, no matter what happens, I'm always going to believe in the Vancouver Canucks team. Those 2 young players that we traded for, the 76 overall and the 78 overall, they're going to be better next season. One of them has medium league potential, the other has top 4 potential, so they should be better, and they're under contract for the next 2 years on their entry level deal, so their cap hit's definitely not going to be hurting the team. All we really have to do here is improve the bottom 6 a little bit, and then we'll be back in that Stanley Cup conversation. So this hasn't happened in a very long time. An absolutely abysmal draft for us. Out of the 4 prospects we drafted, nothing notable. But you know what? That's perfectly fine. We're heading into the final 2 years, so they wouldn't have developed in time anyways. But this is the plan. I want to rock the exact same team for the next 2 years. So that means we might be trading a couple players away, but whoever's on the team for this season has to be on the team for next season. Now, if we want to rock the exact same team for the next 2 years, we have to make sure that every player we trade for is on a 2-year contract, and that's exactly what this player from the St. Louis Blues is on. And then with our next deal, we're going to be picking up this right defenseman from the Winnipeg Jets, and now our defensive core is locked down for the final 2 seasons. So the trades are going to continue, and now we're making a deal with the Colorado Avalanche, where we're going to bring in an 80 overall 2-way forward. He's going to play some bottom 6 minutes, but most importantly, under contract for the next 2 years. Now, Sotheby, you've been an incredible player for us, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to afford you for next season, so I'm going to trade you away here. You, a medium-league potential goaltender, and a second-round picks off to the Minnesota Wild. We're bringing in Lawrence. He's going to be under contract for the next 2 years. He's an 84 overall playmaker. He's going to be a great player for us. If they're not accepting the second round pick, I'm perfectly fine with giving up our first rounder. I just want to make sure that Lawrence is coming to the team here. If I have to give up 2 first round picks, they're bugging, but I'll do a second and a first rounder. This is a massive package right here, but we can get this deal done. Okay, 2 first round picks is wild, but that's what we're doing. So Chicago, are you going to be a bit more reasonable here? I'm going to start with this package right here. They're going to say no to that. Now, the reason I started with basically the exact same package is this guy right here has a very similar overall. I'm going to put Backlund into this deal, and then hopefully that's going to be enough. This guy's trade value and Lawrence's trade value, identical. Why this deal was so much easier to get done, I couldn't tell you. So we're not done quite yet. We need a couple more guys on this team. So Rowe, you could be the next player that we're bringing to the team. And then I think we just need one more guy for the bottom 6, and then we're going to be set. And then our final trade is going to be all the draft picks for this season and next season. We're getting this done. Sylvester, welcome to the team. We got 2 more seasons left, so that means 2 more Stanley Cups. So here we go, the final 2 seasons. Ideally, this is the team we rock both seasons. The forward core is looking great here. The defense is a massive step up from what it was last season. Like, last season, we had 76 overalls on our defense. Now the lowest is a 79. These young guys that picked up last season, they developed and they're looking good. And when it comes to goaltending, Buckley, we know you can be the guy for us. 87 overall. I just need you to step up in the postseason. I think the team all around is much better than we were last season, so I'm expecting a better result than a second round exit. So in our second last season, we're going to see Vancouver at the top of the league. That's no surprise. 58 wins this time around. Zanetta, of course, is going to be a key part of the team. 102 points here. Reeves is picking up 100. James is picking up 96. He hasn't been on the team too long, but you know what? He's stepping up and he's playing some big minutes for us. When it comes to goaltending, Buckley, it's a career season for him. 47 wins, 5 shots, a 911 and a 270. As long as these numbers continue into the postseason, I'll be happy. Last time around, your numbers weren't good enough for us to win a Stanley Cup, and they showed. But this time, the team's a bit better. We've got a bit more depth here, and I think we're back and ready to be Stanley Cup champions once again. So the Vancouver Canucks are back back, a 3-1 series lead against the Anaheim Ducks, and we're going to close this out in a 5-game series. The defense has been great, the offense has been great, everything about this team so far has been perfect. So we're guaranteed the conference finals, and now the only question is, do we take on the Vegas Golden Knights or do we take on the Arizona Coyotes? I really haven't seen the Arizona Coyotes too much in this video, so I wouldn't mind matching up against them in the conference finals. So one more game is going to send us to the conference finals. Of course, we're not losing to the Calgary Flames, we all knew this. So I'm happy to see we're actually going to be taking on the Arizona Coyotes, changing things up a little bit. I have not seen this team in the postseason too much, so it's good to see them here. But you know what? We're going to absolutely dominate them. A 3-0 series lead, and we're going to cap it off in game number 5 after dropping game 4. We're back in the Stanley Cup final. We got all the momentum. We got to keep on rolling here. It's an all-Canadian matchup. We're taking on the Ottawa Senators. So here we go. Vancouver taking on the Ottawa Senators. In our second last postseason, are we going to be taking home a Stanley Cup? Yes, we are. Buckley, you were absolutely phenomenal. Like, yeah, the offense on this team was great, but Buckley was something special. I don't even care about our offensive numbers. I don't even want to bother wasting our time looking at these. I want to look at the goaltending numbers. Buckley, 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 923 and a 227. And the best part about seeing him put up numbers like this is now we know we can do it. So next season when we run it back with the exact same team, I'm expecting you to do even better because all the young guys that we do have here are going to be getting better. So everything about this team's going to be better for the final season. I can't wait to see what we're going to do. So here we go. It's the final postseason. It's the same team as last season. I actually think we have one new player jumping into the lineup. I'm not sure if Sylvester was actually playing for us last season. I think he might have been a healthy scratch. We did have one other guy, but you know what? This is the team that I want to run here. When it comes to the defense, that's looking the exact same, except for Gill has completely fallen off. Bros dropped to an 83 overall. I was not prepared for that, so we might have to run lines like this. You know what? I committed to running the exact same team year after year, but man, Gil, you are not that guy anymore. You had an incredibly quick fall off. Goaltending Buckley, you're going to have to step up a bit this season. Okay, I'm going back on my word. Gil, you can't play for this team anymore. If you drop to an 83 overall over the off season, by the time we get to the end of the season, you're going to be a 75 overall. I can't have that on the team. So you, a first, a second, and our high elite potential goaltender is going to be sent over to the LA Kings. We're getting Hobson. He's got medium elite potential. He's going to help us win this season. That's the reason we're making this deal. So in the final season, year 25, Vancouver's first in the entire league, a 60-19-3 record, 4.12 goals per game, only allowing 2.67. Is there any team in the league averaging below 3 goals per game? Nope, we were the only team averaging below 3 goals per game. We were just built different. Reeves, 108 points here. This guy turned out to be a superstar for us. Rycroft, he's looking great as well. Zanetta, he might go down as one of the greatest Vancouver Canucks of all time. Ever since we brought him here, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He played the 1 year in Calgary, but ever since, he's been on the Vancouver Canucks and he's been phenomenal. And to think, at one point, I was contemplating getting rid of that guy right there. Thank God we didn't. Buckley, 54 wins, 6 shots, a 908 and a 263. Your numbers were phenomenal in the postseason last season. I keep saying the word phenomenal. You know what? This team's amazing. We have the LA Kings in the first round. I want the Calgary Flames in the second. I want to sweep them again. And for the final postseason run, I don't plan on stopping here. We're going to simulate the entire postseason. Things are looking amazing against the LA Kings. That's a quick sweep right there. Let's just move on to the second round. LA couldn't even compete with us. And who are we going to match up against in the second round? The Calgary Flames. So that's going to be another sweep for the Vancouver Canucks. We lost game 1. Okay, not what I'm looking for here, but you know what? We won 3 straight after that. We're going to close it out in game number 5. Just kidding. We're going to close it out in game number 6 here. We're not going to game 7. So we moved on to the conference finals, and that's going to have us match up against the Nashville Predators. We're 8 wins away from hoisting another Stanley Cup here. Make that 5 wins away. After we win this one, we're in the Stanley Cup final. Vancouver's going back to back. So here we go, the final series of the video. We're taking on the New York Islanders. We got to lock in for one last playoff run, a 3-1 series lead. We're going to close this out. Stanley Cup champions once again, and just like that, the video is over. The 25-year rebuild for the Vancouver Canucks is complete, and we're going to finish it off with the Stanley Cup. That's the perfect way to do it. Now, I'm not going to lie, the Vancouver Canucks had a very slow start to this rebuild. In the first 5, 6, 7 years, they were not looking good. I mean, the first 2 years, this team was absolutely abysmal. Then we brought in a new coach, and we got momentum after that. But these last 8, 9 years, constantly making deep postseason runs. We've won a handful of Stanley Cups. I think we've won 4 Stanley Cups in the past 8 years or something. That's how successful this team's been. Reeves is going to lead the way at the end. Rycroft, he's going to be great as well. Zanetta was amazing, 16 goals. And when it came to the goaltending, Buckley, I'm happy I relied on you. 16 wins here, 1 shot, a 922 and a 245. These numbers weren't quite as good as last postseason, but hey, we're Stanley Cup champions. What am I yapping about? So when it comes to all the numbers, I'm just going to say right now, they're very skewed because injuries are off. So Ovi, he's going to play over 2,000 games. Same with Connor Hellebuyck. Ovi's going to finish #1 1 in most goals scored, 1,175. He's also going to come in second for most points, 2,144. How many more seasons did this man play? Like, I'm thinking he might play until he was like 44, 45 years old. We're going to see Igor Koroluk second in assists, 1,258. Honestly, I didn't see too much of that guy. He must have not been making deep postseason runs. All-time wins, that's going to be staying as Martin Brodeur. But Spencer Knight, 627. Got to give respect where respect is due. Dalton Zanetta, he's going to be leading all-time in points, 1,259. Jeffrey Murley's going to be tied with Daniel Sedin for most seasons played all-time with the Vancouver Canucks. That's going to be 17. Svensson's going to be not too far behind Henrik Sedin when it comes to all-time assists. He's finishing with 795 here. Murley's going to be at the top with most games played, 1,394. Zanetta, he's going to be leading in when it comes to the goaltending all-time leaders. Are we really surprised that we're going to see Thatcher Demko, 52 shots, 466 wins? That man was an absolute beast when he was with Vancouver. Won a couple Stanley Cups here. And then when it comes to goals, of course, Zanetta is going to be number one for the Vancouver Canucks, 761. Zanetta was one of the most crucial pieces to us winning as many Stanley Cups as we did. If we didn't have him here and we had somebody else, even a player who was a similar overall, I don't think we're able to do it. We needed Zanetta. He was the missing piece for this Vancouver Canucks team. So just like that, another 25-year rebuild is complete. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment Makinen. He's going to go down as one of the most underrated goaltenders of all time, but he's also going to go down as the greatest playoff performer of all time, because when that man played in the postseason, you already knew you were going on a deep run.